Wow.
It doesn't make any sense, but you can taste it.
Those are the things that often taste the best too when you normally put them together. But some crazy fool one day did change the world. 7 o'clock hour, Lisa Frizzell and Anthony Hartsock are going to be joining us as they prepare to head down to the state capitol for another special session today happening. I guess it got a little spicy yesterday.
Yeah.
Democrats trying to utilize the special session for their own little special projects, if you can believe that.
That's so surprising.
Deb Flora, 8 o'clock, will be joining us. She's got a new project she's working on. So Deb's back in the house. Abe Layden in the 8:30 hour on how Douglas County dropped its homeless population by 80%.
80%?
80%.
They just pick them up on buses and move them somewhere else? What they do? I'm curious.
Sort of.
All right.
Abe Layden will be there.
Yeah.
And then Ted Harvey in the 9 o'clock hour will be talking Dave Williams and State Party and all those activities. All right. The food's starting to come out. So I'm going to let the news go to Blake Olson, who's live here with us.
All right.
So you can get a chance to come down and meet Blake, too.
Yeah, and your kids are here, Jeff.
Right.
Two of your kids are here, and they are incredible. They stood up at attention when I walked in. I like these guys.
We told them how important you are.
Soccer, yeah. Thanks a lot, Billy. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Got a soccer player and an outside linebacker.
That's right. He's not built like a linebacker, which is kind of funny. He's smaller, but he's like this little fish.
That's awesome.
So the minute that he hikes the ball, he's right in the quarterback's face.
I love it.
He's like a barracuda. Not the biggest fish out there, but one of the meanest.
Yeah,
yes,
that's
exactly it.
He's not messing around. That is awesome. I love seeing these guys. Good to see you guys as well. It's a beautiful morning outside, and here in Parker, 58 and clear. Expecting highs in the mid 80s today. The 7-10 5-day forecast is coming up. Our top story, Kamala Harris hiding out from the media for nearly 40 days now, and former President Trump thinking twice about having the debate on ABC on September 10th. They were supposed to be in the three. Well, they were supposed to have 3 debates, but now after Harris is avoiding the media in her campaign, Harris wants the mics open and wants to change some of the rules of the debate.
Wait, Harris wants the mics open?
Yeah, she wants the mics open. So evidently Trump liked the mics off, muted. But, I mean, she's just trying to change the rules.
Yeah, just mess
to get
with them,
out
right?
of it. I mean, I'm assuming.
Okay. Gotcha.
I think Trump would be great with the mics open. We've seen that before.
He'd be great. Either side, he's gonna smoke her, man.
Yeah, no doubt. But it looks like she's trying to get out of it more than anything else. So we'll see about that. DJT is warning that World War III might erupt soon, and he told the National Board Association, the National Guard Association in Detroit, that he's the best candidate to prevent it.
You know, he's been right about a lot of stuff.
Yes.
That's why I don't dismiss that.
I agree with him. I see.
Did he give you a sense of who we're going to fight, though?
Well, I can think of 4 countries right now.
Yeah, I know.
How about you?
North Korea, I don't think that. We just wiped them off the face of the earth.
Start with China. Go to
Russia.
Go to Iran.
Iran, probably.
And
right? Yeah.
who am I leaving out?
The Koreans, North Korea.
The deep state.
We are at war with them already.
Yes. So, I get into discussions with my relatives about this, and Trump is the best for peace. He's already proven it.
Yep,
so
I agree.
A federal judge in Texas is blocking a program that would give legal status to illegals married to American citizens. The Biden administration plan started earlier this month and would have affected around 500,000 immigrants in the country without legal status. Former LAPD Commander Todd Chamberlain has been approved as Aurora's new police chief following an 8-2 vote by the city council. He replaces Vanessa Wilson, who was fired back in 2022. The Denver Department of Public Health and Environment has received a $9 million grant from the CDC to reduce drug overdoses. It'll go toward data collection and addressing disparities in treatment access. All right, news brought to you by Lair Fireplace and Patio, Denver's premier source for everything fireplace, patio, and grills, locally owned and operated since 1954, online at lairfireplacepatio.com. 56 in Centennial, 54 in Lakewood, 58 in Denver. The Rockies over the Marlins 3-2. You guys play baseball? I know you went to a Rockies game, right?
Oh yeah, they got a little bit of baseball in their history.
They got a little history. They look like they can get down, get those grounders at short. All right, Jeff and Bill continue, and we are from Doug's Diner in Parker. Tuesday, Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Here's your 710 5-day forecast. Well, monsoonal moisture has gotten swept away, so the chances of thunderstorms are going to be much lower here in the coming days. Mostly sunny with mid-80s today, upper 50s tonight, warmer back up to near 90 Wednesday, cooling to the low to mid-80s Thursday, mid to upper 80s Friday, 80s to low 90s Saturday. Weather brought to you by branchplanning.com. Secure your future retirement with a reliable income stream. Annuities can provide guaranteed payments, giving you peace of mind. Get your complimentary review at branchplanning.com or call 303.
Who knows?
Welcome to the Jeff and Bill Show, broadcasting live from Doug's Diner here in Parker. Swing on by. We're going to have some food. We're going to enjoy some conversation, and then we got some elected officials that you can throw the food at later.
Yes.
No, these are the good ones. These are the good ones.
Yes.
We like them. They're trying to stem off the crazy progressiveness that's ruining this.
Yes.
All right.
And now Megan is joining us.
Bacon in front of me.
Uh-oh. This ain't good. Go ahead and grab that microphone, Megan. All righty. Good morning, Megan. How are you?
How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for getting up with us this morning. Now, you are one of the managers here.
Yes.
Now, how long have you been part of the team?
I've been working for Doug's for almost 4 years.
Wow.
Yes.
So,
Quite some time.
what do you really enjoy about the job? What do you really enjoy about the diner?
I think it's the people. The people that Doug's brings.
Yeah.
They're awesome, friendly, and we all kind of get along as employees, and we all mesh.
That matters a lot.
Yes,
And that comes from the top, right? You got to have good people at the top.
Exactly.
All right. Now, Megan, you got to help us here. Now, you brought something over. I prepped Megan earlier today that I wanted her to give us whatever she would eat here at Doug's Diner. This is Megan's recommendation for breakfast this morning. Megan, what are we eating and why is it your favorite?
It's called the Big Pig Omelet. So it has
Big pig.
our homemade chili on it. It's the red and green. So I gave you Christmas style is what we call
red
it.
and green together.
Yes. So inside they have the chorizo with sour cream, guacamole, bacon, all the good stuff.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm taking a picture.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here ready to.
All right.
So
I got the picture.
the red chili is going to be a little spicier than the green. The green's a mild. And then with that biscuit there, you have our homemade jam, the raspberry and blueberry.
Oh, I can't wait. Oh, my. Oh, wow. Oh, geez. That chili. Oh, that is really good. Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
Wow. I don't even know what we can say about this.
Blake, just go ahead and talk, please.
Talk among yourselves. We're busy right now. Wow. Okay, now I've got the red chili. That's got some kick to it.
A little bit of kick.
Yeah, I'm going to go in here to the green. Yeah, that it finishes off nicely. The nice part of the red is it burns late. It doesn't come in and like punch in the nose right away.
Yeah.
You have it and then it burns the outside of your throat as you go down. It's really nice. Oh, the green. Ooh. Oh, the green chili. Wow.
Mild,
really
yes.
Good.
Wow.
I'm a fan of
That green chili is fantastic. This is unreal.
All right.
Oh,
I'm glad you guys like it.
Yeah.
This is great. So come on down to Doug's Diner. Enjoy some food here.
Yeah, now if we were going off lunch menu, Megan, what is your recommendation? What's your favorite? We've got some picks later on today, but what do you think?
Yes, so number one, I think, is the Black Betty burger. So
Well, we were talking about that.
Yes, you can't really find a peanut butter burger anywhere else. So peanut butter with jalapeno jam.
Crazy.
Yes.
That's going to be fantastic. Okay,
You're going to like it. Yes.
I can't stop eating the green chili. This is really good. Okay. I've heard enough about these biscuits. I'm going to do the biscuits.
Yay. Nice and fluffy.
So, apparently you can't finish one of these.
Yeah.
They're ginormous.
We can split them.
They're like super thick.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, I'm going in here.
And homemade. That's the best part. Yes.
I'm going here with the jelly. Take that off there. Gotta do this. The jelly. Oh, that jelly. Oh, my Lord.
So doing? That one you're eating is the raspberry and homemade by the owner.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. These biscuits, Blake, you weren't kidding, man.
Right?
These biscuits are fantastic, man. Yeah, here, I'll grab your bite. There you go. You're with us.
Great.
Yeah.
They're different because I don't like flaky biscuits.
No.
You know, they're dense, man.
Yes, they are.
They feel like a Michigan hockey puck or something.
They do.
You know? and they taste
With a little fluff.
They taste a little better. Yeah, with a little. They're awesome.
But they're very dense, but they're not heavy, if that makes sense.
Right.
Because they don't. Yeah. You don't eat them, and they don't feel like like crunching through them. My daughter will hate this, but weekend before, she was making some cookies and left them in the oven too long. And I'm not saying one. I'm saying some of the fire alarms in the house went off. The entire kitchen was filled with smoke, and those were dense cookies. Those were more like paving stones. Yeah,
that's a hockey puck.
That's right. Yeah, that's a hockey. They were black like a hockey.
They were. Yeah, but these biscuits, there's a buttery sweetness to them.
Yeah.
As you have that, as it finishes off, because it's almost like you got to go back for more, and I can't stop eating. Oh, and that jelly is just insane.
And it's funny how you split that's only half.
I know.
Top half.
And the whole time, Lindsay was telling me, when Blake was saying, he's like, it's hard to eat an entire biscuit. It's hard to eat an entire biscuit. And like, shut up. Do you understand that? I'm eating this going, it's hard to eat an entire biscuit.
Right.
It's really good.
That's right.
Oh, my man.
So a little bit later in the hour, Billy and I are going to feed each other.
Yes, exactly. We're gonna do that like the thing in Lady and the Tramp. It's gonna be super awkward. I'm glad you got that.
I did.
Oh my goodness, this is great. Thank you so much, Megan, for your time today. This is wonderful, and coming up early and showing up and making sure everybody was here and set up. This
Definitely.
is
Thanks
wonderful.
for coming our way.
Oh,
already having a great time. We're seeing food out there.
Yep.
This is great.
Oh, this is wonderful.
All right, I think we've got a caller. Should we go to the calls?
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Adam, I think we got Denver on line, or we got William from Denver on line 1. William, you there?
I'm here.
Hey, William. Thanks for calling, man. What's on your mind?
So I will bet you guys steak dinner at Shanahan's that Trump does not smoke Kamala if they have a debate.
You don't think so?
Interesting.
Oh, I think she's so weak.
So what do you like, William? What do you like Kamala? Why do you think that she is going to do better than Trump? What is it?
It's sort of liking Kamala. It's a lot of paying attention. Trump is perhaps the worst presidential debater I've ever observed. He can't stay on point. If you listen to if he gives a 2-minute talk, he'll address 10 different subjects and makes 3 different personal attacks. That's not going to go down very well, I think, particularly with the undecideds. And remember this about Kamala. You know, if you're an attorney, you've got a certain amount of on-your-feet presentation experience. And while I admit she's got some word salad when she's surprised by questions, by the time she preps for something like this, which will be so almost like a trial, I think she'll come across very well. And I know that's subjective, but like I said, I bet you guys steak dinner at Shanahan's.
I'm not sure I can afford
Yeah,
that.
I know. Now, William, what I think is that the interesting thing is about the mics being muted, because it's interesting where the Biden campaign, it seemed like in the first one, wanted the mics muted so that Trump doesn't do the bulldozer and run over the top of everything. Where I'm hearing now, it's Kamala that wants the mics open, not muted.
Well, and I think it's a trap.
Yeah. Now, why? Now, see, if you're thinking the same thing that I am. Why do you think it's a trap?
Trump can't keep his mouth shut. You know what I mean? So he will talk over her and demean her. And let's face it, the undecided voters out there are the ones that you're looking for. And a lot of those are women. And I think he'll come across. I think they should keep his mouth shut. I don't think he'll smoke her. I think most people will think she wins the debate if it happens.
William, I got to bring this up, though. Donald Trump is probably the only person in American history that effectively ended a presidential race via a debate.
But he didn't end it.
I mean, I don't know if you can fairly say that, because he performed so much better than Joe Biden that contributed to the contrast with Joe. He made Joe look so bad.
That's like having a boxing match against a one-armed person. Trump didn't win. Trump didn't win that debate. Biden lost.
I don't know. I think he's an effective debater, and I think he's going to give Kamala and her little word salad, as you mentioned, a good run for her money. And we'll have to see. How about this? Not a Shanahan steak dinner, but a Doug's Diner lunch. How about that? I'll be willing to put that up there.
There we go.
Good. I'd love to meet you guys, and I will keep I'll be hungry that day so that I can eat fully.
William, you're the best. That's a bet, man. Thank you. Have a good day.
William, thanks so much for the call. William's line will be open 303-696-1971. 303-696-1971. Bill and I are, along with Blake, down at Doug's Diner, having a great time, eating some good food. People are starting to fill in. They're getting their coffee. They're getting their food for the day. Conservatives are getting ready to go out there and change the world.
Yep.
And Doug's Diner is providing the fuel.
Yeah, we are here in Parker Road. It is between Parker. It's on Main Street in Parker, between Parker Road and 20 Mile, north side of the street. If you know Parker, there's a Parker Hotel. That's basically where we are. It's part of that complex in that building. Come on over. This is amazing food. Megan started us off this morning with the Big Pig omelet. She did Christmas style, which means we got half green chili. Red. Jeff and I keep going back to the green. That is so good. The red's got a kick to it and a bite, but it's wonderful. And there's so many things, I can't even describe them, wrapped inside this omelet. And they've got the homemade jam. That raspberry is next level. And yeah, they're right. It is hard to finish an entire biscuit. I'm working my way through half of it. And even then, it's tough. How's the bacon? You got bacon brought to you over there. Is it good?
There's no bacon over here. It's all gone.
Oh, now what do you think about as far as the debates? Because William was talking to us about what's going on with the debates. Mm-hmm. And we keep having this discussion about whether or not they're going to do the ABC debate.
Yep.
Trump doesn't want to do it because
Fox
doesn't like,
those, yep.
And then he set up separate ones with Fox. Kamala doesn't want to agree to him. What do you think about it? How many debates do you think we're going to get, or get more than one?
I think you'll get one.
Yeah.
But here's the thing I've learned about Democrats, especially living in this state.
Mm-hmm.
If they feel they don't need to do it, they don't do it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like, look at Valdemar Archuleta, who we had yesterday. Yeah. Diana DeGette literally has nothing to lose.
Yeah.
She also has nothing to gain by doing it. Right.
True.
So she just ignores it.
Yeah.
The entire time. And I'm kind of one of those people that believes that debate makes our society better.
Oh, yeah.
So even if I was up 80 points against an opponent, I would probably do the debate because, I mean, look, I chose to do a show with somebody that doesn't always share the same views I do.
Yeah, shockingly.
So we have this debate, and I think the state of Colorado is better. I think our listeners enjoy it because it's not just the echo chamber all the time. So,
yeah,
but that means that Kamala, she probably would pass on it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that she's going to stick to the one, and then if everything goes well, we're not going to see another one because at this point, I'm of the opinion that Trump needs it more than she does.
I think you're right about that.
Because right now she's able to avoid doing an actual interview. If you're avoiding doing an interview, you can avoid debates. I mean, that's the thing is I got to see her sit down for an interview first. But I know we've got Dwayne on the line, but we'll get to you in a second, Dwayne. We're going to step aside here for just a second. We're at a Doug's Diner. Join us for breakfast this morning. The place is starting to fill up. Don't wait until the last minute. You got to make sure you get a table. Artist showed up before we even turned the lights on. She was here with us. That's how she is. And she's right here in the front row.
Questions in the next segment.
Yes,
so
we are.
Be ready.
And we'll talk to Dwayne on the phone as well. Come out and see us at Doug's Diner in Parker. It is on Main Street between 20 Mile and Parker Road. Fantastic breakfast. Jeff and I are going to throw down a big omelet that Megan set us up with during this break. We'll be back right after this.
You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We are broadcasting live from Doug's Diner in Parker. If you want to come down and join us, the food is kicking. The drinks are getting everybody awake and ready to go. We got some hot coffee. We got the orange juice. We got all that good stuff. It's 18595 Main Street, 18595 Main Street in Parker, and we are having a ball. We're going to have a lot of fun today. Lisa Frizzell and Andy Hartsock, state representatives, are going to join us in the 7 o'clock hour. Deb Flora will be here. Back
in her old stomping grounds.
Queen.
It'll be so nice. I'm still working on this biscuit from Doug's. It's been 10 minutes. No, I'm serious. These things are so good. But
Abe Layden
some time.
At 8:30 talking about how Douglas County reduced homelessness by 86%.
That's crazy.
And that doesn't mean
what they did.
They didn't tax people and put them up in hotels.
Is Mike Johnston listening?
Right. And then Ted Harvey will join us in the 9 o'clock hour. So it's going to be a great show.
Excellent.
Join us down here at Doug's Diner. All right. Artist is joining us here. She's a fan of the show. Came on down.
She listens all the time, and she was here early. She was here before we turned the lights on. It was fantastic to see her.
One of the really true ones.
Yeah.
Artist. Tulsi Gabbard endorsed Donald Trump yesterday. What do you think of that?
Well, it's good that she came to the right side of things.
Nice use of the word right side. Nicely done. I appreciate you.
I very seldom make any left turns in my life. So, I try not to.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
I mean, we kind of have the Avengers squad.
Yeah.
You got Elon Musk. You've got Robert F. Kennedy. You've got Tulsi Gabbard. Now, many of them former Democrats. Did they leave the Democrat Party, or did the Democrat Party leave them?
Well, I hope they left, but I hope that they left the party. Because that has changed tremendously.
It has. I think, if John F. Kennedy was around today and was the type of person he was then, right, he didn't adjust, I think he'd fit more in the Republican camp. But what does that mean about the direction of our nation? Are we just getting that much more progressive on one side that who used to be Democrats now look like right wingers?
Well, and when I moved here in 1977, this was a very red state.
Yeah, that's right.
And I'm hoping before I die, whenever that is, that we turn back red.
I think the bad news I have is I think it's going to take 2 generations. I think it's going to take a redo of our education system, primarily where conservatives are not putting their kids into government-run schools. And they get a different education than what I got. Even when I was at Creek in 2000, you could start to feel it go progressive, right? And kind of reject conservative values. But I mean, the left just doesn't reproduce. They don't have kids. And it's going to take conservatives building. Basically, it's going to take Mormons to save this state.
That's a weird one and it's weird you bring that up, because I was just reading the last 24 hours that there is an outreach by the Harris campaign to what they see are persuadable voters in Arizona.
Yeah.
It's the Mormons.
The Mormons do not like Trump. I've run into this.
Yeah.
I have actually run into this.
They do not like him at all.
Yeah. And it's the character issues.
Yep, it's character issues. It's not policy. It is character issues. And
the idea that they would go all the way to Harris, though?
Well, here's the thing is, it's weird.
Or they just stay home.
The idea is, that would be stay home. But the other idea is, I'm not so certain that they see it as going all the way to Harris, especially when you're talking about a character issue. And that's where I think this election, the Republican Party is making a mistake. They are trying to run this election as if it is a typical one, and it's not. It's so atypical. And they keep throwing out things about Kamala Harris doesn't have her policy issues, and she's flipped on these, she's flipped on that. I don't think that's going to matter. I don't think the policy issues are going to matter one lick inside of this election, because this at the core, I believe, is going to be a character election. Now, Artist, what do you think? Is this going to be an election based on character, or is it going to be based on policy?
Well, I didn't follow Trump before he ran for president.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with a lot of stuff he did, although as Christians we're told we're supposed to forgive. But certainly because he's a good businessman and America's a business, he did a much better job of was dealing with America.
And again, I'm just gonna, because you know how you listen to the show, you know how I roll, artists. You know, I'm not doing this personally.
Pounce.
Oh no, not pouncing. I want to explore the conversation a little bit. I want to know, he's a guy that has 4 bankruptcies. He lost money running a casino. You have Trump Airlines, Trump Steaks, Trump Vodka, Trump Magazine, Trump the Game. All of those
Trump
things,
University, baby.
All those things didn't come to fruition, didn't stay long term. Can we say necessarily that he is a good businessman based on that track record?
Well, he's still a businessman, and
True.
I see America having done much better under Trump than we have under the Biden-Harris debacle.
Depends on what we say about much better. But what about, let's talk about the idea of can you run the American government as a business? I submit that because of how government has to function, it can't be run like a business. And what I mean by that is when you run the government, you have to accept all customers and all things. When you run a business, you decide, like you're Doug's Diner. Doug's is doing breakfast and lunch. They don't have people showing up at 10 o'clock at night saying, make me dinner, make me dinner. And that's, if you're the government, you got to be able to make dinner
Kelly,
as well.
Will you lock the door? Will you lock? No.
Oh, no.
He's not in.
The door was supposed to be locked.
Shoot.
No.
Get him out of here.
George Brockler in the house. We'll get to him in a sec. So, artists, can we run America as a business?
I think mostly, because America needs to make money somehow to stay in business. And first of all, I don't think Biden was much involved in anything. I think the guy from prior to Trump is probably still running things, although I won't mention his name.
Barry.
Yeah. So, I think that, Trump's made mistakes, haven't we all? The only one that hasn't is Jesus, and we're not Jesus.
But I'll say this, Billy. One, a few bankruptcies, that's going to come with serial entrepreneurs. That's the way they run. You look at Mark Cuban, you look at those other guys, they run into that stuff, and they press on. They think differently, and I appreciate that about Trump. And when it comes to running the government, business people are willing to make hard and tough decisions. And I found progressives can never say no. Literally could never say no to anybody. So
that is fair. Well, artists, thank you so much for the time.
Artists, thanks for showing up. We appreciate it.
Go get a hug from George.
We got George Brockler just coming in the house.
Yep. And I know that we got a phone call. I know Dwayne from Divide has been hanging on the phones for
Divide, you're on the Jeff and Bill show, a special broadcast from Doug's Diner.
Yeah, Dwayne, I'm sitting here eating a biscuit, just trying to make you jealous this morning. One of those
Doug Diner
biscuits.
I've had their biscuits. They're wonderful. So
they are.
I have no problem with that. We drove up for a car show and stopped there before we knew you guys were promoting them. Anyway, $50 as opposed to a steak dinner to wounded warriors, please, for that game. Kamala is running away from the debate. She's not going to do one. There will be nobody doing any debates. Trump will stand there at an empty item going, come on, bring it on. She's not going to do one. She's vapid. She's absolutely without any character, and she's a paper tiger. Now, as far as the Christians,
Dwayne, she said she'll do the ABC debate. The one that's saying they don't want to do the ABC debate is Trump. He wants to do others. What do you think about that?
Well, I think he wants to do ABC Plus, but I don't know. I haven't seen everything. And another thing, as far as Kamala goes right now, she's got so much backup of the press and all the rest, there's no problem. My irritation with the Christians are, well, he has a bad reputation, and he's this, and he's bankrupted businesses. You have a choice that is so stark right now in which direction you want the country. Okay? If you want a Valentine, send one to Dina Von Teese like I did, and she sent me back an autographed photo. If you want a man who's going to run the country and sit there and make something happen, then you go with Trump. If you want to sit there and see the country destroyed, vote Kamala. Mormons not wanting Trump because of his values? Great. Wonderful. We'll wrap ourselves in the flag of that while we're standing around a trash can eating beans. Wake up, America. Wake up.
Yeah, I get this all the time. This is why I think that during the election, Republicans are going to have to refine their message, because I don't think the larger electorate is buying the narrative that Kamala Harris or Joe Biden is destroying America. I don't think they're buying that narrative based on what we're seeing. We've broken another stock Dow Jones record this week. We've got 29 records in the past since January. If the stock market continues to break records, you can't turn around and say destroying America. We've got higher corporate profits than ever before. C-suite the C-suite have larger gains as far as income than we've ever had before. We're producing more oil than we have before. It's hard to turn around and say that America is falling apart when you're looking at those type of economic indicators. I understand the kitchen table indicators, but that's the problem in the narrative, is that the individuals that have money in the stock market, the individuals that are watching some of those economic numbers, when the claim is made that one person or one party is destroying America, it's not backed up by what you're seeing. Is that going to be a problem?
Well, you can churn and burn any stock. I got guys who do that all the time in boiler rooms. The bigger point is that if you're going to have Medicare for all, if you're going to allow illegal aliens to come in and actually have no stoppage whatsoever, handing them driver's licenses, social security cards. My folks spent $2,800 in 1965 to get me into American citizenship. My friend who sat there and came from Kazakhstan, she spent $25,000 in legal fees. Give us our money back if that's what we're going to do.
I understand the illegal thing, Dwayne, but what I'm going to say is if you look at numbers again, and they came to the table way late. And again, I'm just trying to play the other side for a second with you. Is you look at the immigration numbers from January when Biden actually got his act together and decided, oh, wait, we need a border. The numbers are way down based on apprehensions and illegal crossings. And I think that's going to be a problem, whether or not we agree that Kamala had done anything at all. And I don't think she did a damn thing for the last 3 years as far as immigration. But if we look at what has happened since January, there is a small track record. And if she just says, I'm going to continue doing the same thing, it is solving the problem everybody's complaining about. Is it the total fix? No, but it does show that the problem is getting less. So standing there and saying she wants totally open borders and wants illegals in based on actions of the current administration, that's not necessarily true. I'm not saying that's her core principle, but yeah.
When you're dropping down in points of the different polls, you're going to do anything to sit there and tack in. Of course, Democrats always tack center towards the middle of the election time and then run away again. The bigger situations are at this particular point in time is that they are sitting there saying open borders. They're sitting there saying no arrest warrants for anybody. Immigration centers to be shut down. She hasn't changed the point on it. I still say $50 to wounded warriors because I don't think Kamala's stepping up for a debate. And I'm an old man and $50 means a whole lot to me. So please, at this particular time, look at the points up. What's the better deal? What's the worst deal? Kamala's a bad deal.
Now, Dwayne and Bill, we got to get to a break here, but I got to share a joke with you I heard from Reagan the other day that will explain Kamala Harris perfectly.
Excellent.
Okay. There was a woman that went into a bridal shop to get a dress. She wanted a long, white, flowing dress for her wedding, but she was getting married for the fourth time. And the woman at the dress shop said, now, I understand you're getting married, but you know, a white dress kind of signifies purity. Maybe not your fourth wedding. You shouldn't be getting a white dress. And she said, well, you know, I am pure. I want to wear a white dress. And she goes, well, really? How is that the case if you now on your fourth wedding? And she said, well, the first time my husband and I had just gotten married, but we got in a big fight right after the ceremony, before the reception. We called the whole thing off. Second time, my husband and I, we got a fight after the reception on the way to the honeymoon suite. We called the whole thing off. And the third time, I married a Democrat. And married a Democrat, and he sat on the bed all night just telling me how good it's going to be.
That's good. That is really
That's
good.
Kamala Harris right now. She's telling me how good it's going to be. All right, we'll continue. George Brockler's in the house. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show, broadcasting live from Doug's Diner. And Parker, come on down and join us. The food is cooking. The coffee is hot. Start your Tuesday off right with some great food. By the way, speaking of adventures and the idea that
getting the band back
Gabbard
together
is jumping in here as Wonder Woman. Criminals have fled Doug's Diner as George Brockler walked in.
Yeah, and I appreciate that he did do the theme, and he did the Wonder Woman costume for us this morning. And I appreciate that more than you know.
Dressed as Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Don't look at my lasso.
Those are pretty magic bracelets, though, you guys.
Once again, we go right back to Billy and the Snakes.
Exactly. Right back where we started, my friend. Oh, thanks for coming down.
It is so good to be here. A couple of thoughts real quickly. One, where was all this when it was just me? You know what I mean? Like, where was the whole, let's go down to Doug's awesome diner off of Main Street in Parker and live it up? Where was that? Instead, it was, you can do the show remotely from your kitchen every once in a while. And
make your own coffee.
That's right. I love listening to the show. I listen to it every morning. Frankly, some of it is dumpster fire like see what's going on.
Oh, you're welcome.
How bad has it got?
That's my fault.
But most of it is, I love the banter. You guys get the great guests. It's fantastic.
Oh, we appreciate it.
Last night was crazy. Hey, who's your chairman?
Yeah. Who's your chairman?
I listened yesterday. I was working out, and it was great because you'd have the one guest on, whether it was Eli, and then the only person you didn't get, I think, was D. Will, right? Like,
right.
And he was busy.
And he's busy. He's adding to his family right now.
Yeah. Well, and that's great news. That's great news. And I think a lot of people are saying maybe that's where your focus should be.
Right.
Because we're trying to give birth here to a new party or something. But it's interesting to see how this plays out. In fact, I know attorneys on both sides of this. So you got Chris Murray, who, wicked smart dude, 1st and 14th and all that. And then on the other side, you got the guy that won the initial motions. Guy's name is Dave Piggott. Dave's a lieutenant colonel in the Army. I've served with Dave for a long time. Really smart guy. Wow. It'll be interesting to see how this thing plays out.
I spoke with Chris yesterday, and I think it's going to come down to a judge's decision. Because it comes down to a comma.
Yeah.
In the bylaws.
And it's all been argued on that bylaw. What does the bylaw say?
And to be clear, no matter what at this point, whether it gets appealed all the way to the Supreme Court or whatever, and I mean the Colorado Supreme Court, the person making the decision, if it's a judge, will be a Democrat-appointed judge making a decision about who's going to be the chairman.
I didn't even think of that.
Of the Republican Party.
Yes.
That's perfect.
That's wonderful.
But I mean, the issue comes down to whether or not it's 3/5 of the people in the room, or 3/5 of the people in its entirety.
That's right.
Yeah.
And there's no comma in that bylaw, and so you can kind of read it either way.
Yeah.
How did we get here, man? I mean, we are days away, maybe weeks or months away from trying to figure out a way to save the country and parts of the state of Colorado.
And we're fighting over a comma.
Here we are fighting over a comma. Is it an Oxford comma? I don't even know.
Don't even know. And in fact, talk about fighting and doing silly things and strange stuff. I think it is the time of the morning where we throw the format out of the window and play You Choose the News. Adam, if you have the music ready, sir. Yes, it is that time of the morning where we take our careers in our tiny little hands and make questionable decisions with you. We call this You Choose the News. It is everybody's favorite fake radio news game show. I have scoured the interwebs for moments this morning. Here are the stories, and I've given them even more ridiculous headlines to play this fake radio news game. Because George Brockler is here, we are going to have Jeff choose the first one, Blake gets the second one, and George will finish it out. All righty, gentlemen, here are your headline choices. Headline number 1, introducing the Tipsy Cup. Headline number 2, tag, you're it. Headline number 3, film special effects cause problems. And headline number 4, parting gift. Mr. Hunt, your choice, sir.
We got the kids in the house. Let's do tag. Let's play tag.
Yeah, tag. You are it. Now, a woman in Santa Barbara County was so upset that she had been a victim of mail theft. Her mailbox at the Los Alamos post office had been broken into a dozen times. She decided to stop it by mailing herself an Apple AirTag in order to track down the thieves. All she did is just wait. Yep, there goes the mail. And she then contacted the police officers. The officers used the GPS to go right to the door of the 2 people responsible. And hey, surprise! They didn't just do it to her. dozens and dozens of other people's mail, thousands of dollars in fines and charges. They are arrested and facing charges in jail right now. Yes. Okay, Blake Olson, your choice, sir. Introducing the Tipsy Cup, film special effects cause problems, or parting gift?
Introducing the Tipsy Cup.
Yes, introducing the Tipsy Cup. Here we go to Salinas, California for this one. A local Japanese restaurant is facing a lot of questions after they converted the juice cup into a tipsy cup. Oh. What do I mean? Well, there was a family that was having a large dinner there. They ordered apple juice for their 2-year-old. Apple juice got wine. Apple juice? No. It was wine inside the cup. It came in a little child's juice cup. They served the 2-year-old wine, and it wasn't until they started acting like your best friend at the party, where she's up against the wall, and her head's bobbing, and then she's like, come here. I love you so much. I got to tell you something. It wasn't until then they figured out that, yeah, she might have been drinking wine. Yes, she was drinking wine, and now there are so many questions. Okay. And again, we all had that friend in college. We all knew that person. I love you so much. I just got to tell you this much. All righty. And our final choice this morning, Georgia Brockler. Film special effects cause problems or parting gift?
What's in my pocket for 200? Is that
we can't play that in public.
Show.
Yes.
Show.
Yes.
I'll go with the special effects gone wrong.
Yeah, special effects causing problems on this one. Lionsgate is having a problem with the brand new Francis Ford Coppola movie, Megalopolis. They have pulled the trailer because they lied. Here's the thing. During the trailer at the very end, there are all these flowery reviews of how good Megalopolis is. However, none of the film reviewers actually reviewed the film. These were comments on Coppola's other films like Godfather and Apocalypse Now. It was not too hard for people seeing the trailer to go, excuse me, I think those are the wrong words. So Lionsgate is trying to play stupid and say we had no idea that we were using the wrong quotes, but somebody had to put it together, somebody had to sign off on it, and then somebody had to make all the advertising buys.
The giveaway was Pacino is groundbreaking.
Exactly. That was it. Yes, they're like, we love the best mafia movie of all time. Yes. And war movies are great. And no, but that's it. So they have pulled Megalopolis' trailer because they were lying about it. If you can't get the real quotes, just make them up. That's what we do here on the Jeff and Bill Show. That's the end of You Choose the News.
Hey, I love this segment, buddy. Yeah. If there was anything that was going to be carried over from the old show, of course it was going to be something Billy created.
Yeah. Just something completely ridiculous.
It's awesome. I love listening to you guys do it every morning. It's terrific.
So, George, you're getting ready for another race. You got a general election.
General election in November. There's one forum. It's going to be at the Douglas Elbert Bar Association.
Is that more than Dagny did?
No, we did a few out. Then I think she was like, "This isn't fun anymore. I don't want to do this." And it's like getting sick on the roller coaster. You know what I mean? You don't want to go back.
Oh, yeah.
But in this particular case, my opponent, I'm kind of going to this forum in part to see who she is, because she has no website, hasn't raised $1, hasn't spent $1. Based on my limited review of her background, one, she could be a spy. There's so little about her on the internet. I don't know, but she has no connection to criminal law that I can find ever. And normally, I told you this off air, I'd feel super cocky. But I'm the guy that lost to Phil Weiser. So, I mean, it's just really hard to feel my.
You gave us Phil Weiser
confidence there. Yeah.
Wow. That's
Did you just say I gave you Phil Weiser? That's
on him, not on me.
I felt that down in my nether regions. That one. Good God. I don't think I'm going to see
that guy.
That's a punch. I didn't even see that one coming. I was distracted by something, and now my nose is bleeding.
That's right.
All right.
We'll come on down here, Doug's Diner.
You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
7 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show on 710 KNUS. We're doing a live broadcast from Doug's Diner right off of Main Street here, 18595 Main Street. Having a ton of fun, hanging out with friends, eating good food, the coffee, the orange juice. They're all getting you fired up for the day. You conservatives heading out there to make this world a better place. And stopping Kamala Harris from printing money.
That's right. Come on out and have breakfast with us. Doug's Diner. It's between 20 Mile and Parker Road on Main Street, north side of the street. They do everything locally sourced. We had the big omelet last hour, and those biscuits are out of this world. Jeff's still working on my bacon with Blake on the other side. He won't even let me have any. Okay, I'm teasing. And those biscuits are serious. Those biscuits are amazing. You like them? They did. Yeah, they're so good. You're right about those, Blake. They are. They're the best. Goodness. And I couldn't even finish the whole one. You're right, man. I couldn't do that one. And they did it Christmas style for us. We had half green chili, half red chili. That red chili is delicious, but it's got a kick. That green chili. Ooh. If you're a green chili fan, come on down here. I hear they'll put it on almost absolutely everything. So just not in your coffee. Other than that, you got everything else. So yeah, we're at Doug's Diner. Come and have some fun with us.
You know what's great about Doug's? The service. It doesn't matter whatever location you go to. They're incredible.
Yeah, that's
great. The one I go to in Fort Collins and the one in Windsor, just like here, and then a few others in the northern part of the city. I mean, they're great.
Well, I spend a lot of time in food service, spend a lot of time in restaurants, a lot of time in country clubs, and you get a real flavor for who the service staff is. This staff likes each other. This staff works together. This staff does this like a family. So it's not, we've been to the restaurants where you sit there and it is performative. The person is just trying to move the table, turn the table over as quickly as possible. They're making sure that whatever it is, your actual meal and making sure you're happy, that's secondary. They need to be happy with their job, and they need to get you through as quickly as possible. Doug's Diner here is making sure that everybody's comfortable. The number of times they come by and ask us how we're doing, what we need. And again, they're sitting around and they're chatting like friends, when they're not busting tables, when they're not doing the hard stuff. Yeah, these people like each other. This is a special place. I appreciate this.
So coming up right after the news with Blake Olson, we've got Lisa Frizzell and Anthony Hartsock, their state representatives, called down for the special session and give us some insight on what it was like yesterday at the special session. They'll be coming up here in just a second. Let's check in on the news with Blake Olson, who's live here in person.
Yeah,
and is a lot more handsome in person.
I can say same thing about you guys. Even though I've known Billy a long time. But you guys are so handsome. You really are. 58 and sunny. Expecting a high of 87 today. The 710 5-day forecast is coming up. Our top story, one person is dead following a fiery electric vehicle crash in Lone Tree. It happened last night on northbound I-25. The car hit a median and burst into flames. The driver died. There's no word on additional injuries. Kamala Harris, she's trying to hide out from the media again today. We'll see if it continues. She's nearly 40 days in now from actually having a press conference, and former President Trump is kind of backing off a little bit, saying he's not sure about having that debate on September 10th because she wants the mics to be open and trying to change some of the rules. But I think the bottom line is she's trying to get out of the debate coming up on September 10th. A former Littleton Schools bus aide who's accused of assaulting disabled children has pleaded not guilty. Kiara Jones allegedly punched, stomped, and hit the children and was arrested earlier this year after the abuse was caught on a bus security camera. This is day 2 of a special session on property tax relief. Colorado lawmakers discussed a bill Monday to cut the tax rate without enacting initiatives 50 and 108. The ballot measures would cap property tax revenue if passed and reduce the assessment rates when considering property values. It is 56 in Lone Tree, 53 in Arvada, and 58 in Denver. The Rockies over the Marlins on Monday, 3-2 the final. Jeff and Bill and I am out here at Doug's Place in Parker. Come on out. Great windows, beautiful day outside, sunshine, great views, great people here in the restaurant, and excellent service, excellent food. Come on out. It is Tuesday. Blake Olson, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Here's your 7-10 5-day forecast. Well, monsoonal moisture has gotten swept away, so the chances of thunderstorms are going to be much lower here in the coming days. Mostly sunny with mid-80s today, upper 50s tonight, warmer back up to near 90 Wednesday, cooling to the low to mid-80s Thursday, mid to upper 80s Friday, 80s to low 90s Saturday. Weather brought to you by branchplanning.com. Secure your future retirement with a reliable income stream. Annuities can provide guaranteed payments, giving you peace of mind. Get your complimentary review at branchplanning.com or call 303-219-0088. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
To the Jeff and Bill Show. Happening right now is a special session, and I'm a little mixed on it because I would like to see the ballot go, and I think there's some wind at the back, but I understand there's some opportunity for some negotiation. So joining us live in the restaurant here at Doug's Diner is Anthony Hartsook and Lisa Frizzell. They're state representatives representing Castle Rock and Parker, and in fact, Anthony, this is your district. We're in your district right now, right?
Yes, that's correct.
And then, Lisa, you're running for state senate, which would include this as your district.
Absolutely.
Thank you for representing us and
for having us.
Coming on the show. So what happened yesterday? Give us a sense of they gavelled in for the special session. How was it?
Do we solve all the problems?
Yeah, it's all good. All right.
Yay, we'll go home.
Yay. We gavelled in. The bills were read in and assigned to committee. There were 3 committees that ran concurrently. So it was appropriations. So 3 bills were assigned to appropriations. We had, I think, something like 6 were assigned to transportation, housing, local government, and 4 were assigned in finance. So I sat in on appropriations.
Bills?
I think that's right. Yeah.
But do they need 13 bills to deal with this property?
Wait, no.
Absolutely not. Last session we had 705, and we could have done away with about 700 of them.
I bet.
Wow. So give us a sense of what the 13 bills covered.
Yeah.
Well, we had a number of statement bills. There were a couple of bills that were similar in nature that would actually raise property taxes for homes that are higher than the county median value. Yep. And so both of those were defeated.
From Democrats.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. Let's fix the property tax and let's raise it on people.
So it was kind of taking what is somewhat of a progressive plan and making it even more. It was like progressive on steroids.
Yeah.
So those 2 went down. We have the main property tax compromise bill, which is House Bill 1001. We have another bill that did make it through as well, and that is House Concurrent Resolution 1001, not to be confused with House Bill 1001, but they're the same number, just different bills. And this is a very concerning bill to me because what it is doing is it's saying you as a citizen no longer get to bring an initiative to the ballot regarding property taxes. It is removing citizens' ability to do that, and that's a huge problem to me. And then we have a third one that's being brought around some business personal property taxes.
Hold on. They want to take away taxpayers' ability to bring any initiative that has to do with taxes to the ballot?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Hold on. These are the people that talk about democracy all the time.
And
We're the party of democracy.
Yeah. And the one thing they don't want is for people to have the initiative. There's part of this special session, which I believe they're there because they see the writing on the wall with what's going on in the ballot initiative. They figure they're going to get taken already. They're going to lose that one. So they need to try to do something to soften the blow. They need to make it the law before they give the people the voice. Telling you, 1, they're afraid of what you do when you vote. But then 2, they run a bill that says, okay, you know what you're doing right now? You can't do that anymore. Hang on.
That's right.
Hold on a sec.
Exactly correct.
What the hell is going on?
Hold on. But we can still run citizen initiatives to make abortion a constitutional right.
Yeah. No, it's just about.
But
it's about
if it's a tax issue where Democrats have been losing, we're going to address that issue.
Yes. If they wanted to run an initiative that said every third Thursday of the month we all get to punch someone that's a Republican in the face, they would say absolutely. Seems like a great idea. But you do it taxes and stuff that actually impacts you daily. No. Why would we do that? That's just silly. No, that's ridiculous.
This is the party of freedom and joy.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Freedom for responsibility.
And did that one get out of committee?
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
How?
What?
Oh my Lord.
Where's Kyle Clark? Where's come on?
Yeah, why is he not mad about losing the citizen voice? He's always mad at everything else. It just
So it gets better. So in finance, which was where I was at, we had 4 bills. All 4 were defeated. 3 of them were very progressive specialty tax cuts. The 4th one was an interesting one. It was Republican sponsored. All the Republicans voted for it, but it was to give a tax credit on the homestead. The original homestead was built in, never had anything to deal with inflation or anything like that, and nothing for disabled veterans, Gold Star families. And what we want to do is then basically index it to inflation. Okay. So you would keep the same tax deduction as when it was originally built in. And then that was voted down. And so that was kind of disappointing in that you're trying to stand up for veterans, correct?
Yeah.
And Gold Star families and disabled veterans, and it got defeated. So that was a little frustrating.
Oh, I appreciate the fact that you guys ran that singular, because that is a very tight issue that you can turn around and say, listen, you didn't want to keep the taxes lowest on these people that are probably the ones that are struggling the most in our economy based on fixed incomes and some other things, the disabilities and being the veterans. They've got some real issues based on their budget, and the Democrats aren't willing to solve it. In fact, they just want more of their money.
Correct.
This is so annoying.
I'm just brought back to the fact that our state is so much better when the state legislature not meeting when it's Democrat.
Yeah, that would be true.
Democrat run. Maybe
no offense to Lisa. No offense here to Lisa and Anthony, but it's much better when you're not doing your jobs.
Well, it's because they're just such a minority. You guys are in a super minority. You're part of the Mighty 19.
Yes.
Mighty 19 that are fighting there. So they've got these bills. Are they expected to try to get these all done this week? Is this a 1-week crap session?
Yes. We're going to be there as long as it takes. But we had, so interestingly, there were 2 bills that came out of the Senate yesterday. So we have the House process. Yeah. We had all the bills that were read in and assigned to committee yesterday. The Senate had the same thing going on. They only had 2 bills introduced. Both of those bills were killed in committee. One was from the a couple of Republicans from Douglas County, and then the other one was from a Democrat. Both of those were killed. So there are 0 bills coming out of the Senate, and 3 bills, as we mentioned, made it out of committee in the House. So we will be hearing those 3 bills in the House on second reading today.
And that's when the big debates happen, right? Second reading, you guys get up there and they shut off your mic and all that.
Yeah.
Tell you what you can and can't say.
Gavel.
So who's been gavelled down more between the 2 of y'all?
I think Anthony probably.
That's wonderful.
He turns all red and gets excited.
I like that.
It's my Irish background. They always make fun of me. When I get down there, they can see it as like going up from my neck to my face. And that's usually when I walk down, I'm like, all right, look.
Yes.
Shortly after that, the gavel drops.
So I like you even more now.
And now, Lisa, I know you were part of the team that helped negotiate. I know the earlier version, but how about this later version? Were you part of that negotiation team that helped form the special session?
No, I have not been part of these negotiations. These have been fairly close. The governor's office, Michael Fields, Barb Kirkmeyer, some of a couple of the Democrats in the Senate. The Speaker of the House was somewhat involved, especially when it comes to school finance. So that's a real important thing for her and for all Coloradans, school finance. So it was a fairly small group, and nobody made Michael Fields come to the table. I think that's really, really important for people to understand that nobody made him come to the table. He is there willingly and really is invested in this compromise.
And he has said if it does not come out well, he will not remove his ballot initiative.
Correct.
And that's kind of what drove everybody to the table. Can you explain to folks what the ballot initiative did and why this special session was called?
So there were 2 ballot initiatives, 50, which caps property taxes statewide, And then the other ballot initiative 108 reduces assessment rates fairly dramatically. And so it's really important. Listen, this is the thing is since Gallagher was repealed, which was really pushed very, very hard by Democrats, and they were the ones who introduced that into the House, I believe. When it was supposed to be repeal and replace, right?
Yeah, right.
And so 2000, so that was in 2020, or I'm sorry, that was in 2020. 2021 comes along. We have, this legislature was in session all through, in the 120 days, and there was no replace. And so you had Colorado Concern and come to the table. They started running initiatives through the title board, and that brought the governor to the table, and we had lowered the assessment rates because of that effort. Same thing happened in 2022, and the same thing happened in 2023, because in 2022 and 2021 we had Senate Bill 293. In 2022 we had Senate Bill 22-238, and then we had 303, which became Prop HH. It is really, really important for folks to understand that if it weren't for Colorado Concern and Michael Fields, the Democrats would have done nothing. Yeah. We would have gotten no property relief from them because they believe that we should be paying higher property taxes. That's just real. So I really appreciate the efforts of Michael and Colorado Concern. They are the real heroes in the state when it comes to property taxes. And I just want to really acknowledge that.
I think Michael Fields is one of the smartest men in politics. I mean, really talented guy. And he gets it done, right? He gets the ballots, he gets the signatures. He's able to deliver that, puts pressure on the Democrats. Very impressive. So, Anthony, do you think we're going to see this type of relief and a good compromise by the end of this week? How does things look from your perspective?
I think we will. And it's kind of back to the point when we started out the show. One of the things that brought everybody to this table was the initiative process. And this is what the Democrats want to eliminate. That would then get rid of this whole, we're in the minority. This becomes our only leverage is to go to the people. Yeah. And they want to eliminate that leverage.
Yep.
This ability is not only taking care of the people where Republicans are trying to stand up and represent the Coloradans and help everybody across the board. The Democrats want to take that ability away, lock, stock, and barrel.
Look,
then you wouldn't have this situation. You wouldn't have negotiations or compromise. You would have a dictatorship that would be driving the train, and everyone here would be suffering.
No, so here's Colorado, and even if I don't always agree with the state, it's a socially libertarian, fiscally conservative state.
Yep.
Right. And 100%. Believe me, as the guy who's on the wrong side of losing everything socially out there, it is socially libertarian. Okay. So doctor-assisted suicide, abortion up to birth. You can smoke your pot and take your mushrooms. We don't really care. Okay. You can go do all that. But when it came to fiscal issues, the voters always said, keep the government restricted and the money back in the people's pockets. Right. If we lose that, there's no difference between us and California then. No difference. You'll see a mass exodus out of the state. I mean, what's the point of staying here anymore? I mean, it's like the one thing that kind of keeps the center right here is the idea that we're kind of a fiscally conservative state.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing about the idea of taking away the initiative process, it pulls back the curtain on an argument that I've had with the Democrats for years now. I feel they are in a position where they believe they have been given the ability to rule rather than represent. They don't care about the average voter. Right. They care about what their goals are and what their donors want and what makes them feel good, because what they're deathly afraid of is the voice of Coloradans. And that's what they're telling you about trying to end the initiative process. They are afraid that Colorado will realize the dumb stuff they're doing and then change it. They want to take away our ability. I mean, Jeff's ability, my ability, Blake Olson down there, his ability, and everyone listening listening to the station right now, our listeners, they want to take away your ability to impact Colorado and especially the property taxes that you're paying on your home. That should scare you. That should tell you why we need more people with an R beside their name in our state legislature, because we got to have the team ready to push back on this. You can see what they've got a tiny little group down at the state capitol, and look what they're able to do. With the help of people like Michael Fields and with our listeners, they're able to force a special session. We can't let this kind of crap continue.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Bill just said we need more Republicans down at the state legislature.
We do.
Look at that. We're
Yes,
getting some
we do.
applause right there. I knew I'd bring them over.
You've made an effect, my friend. You've made an effect, my friend. Absolutely.
All right, absolutely agree. And to that point, I mean, the single most adored piece of legislation is the Taxpayer Bill of Rights.
Yes.
That polls at 79 to 80% approval.
Yes.
To this day, it still is the top one. And to your point about more Republicans, I mean, we're not looking to take the majority. That's just not numerically possible. But what we need is a balanced, common sense government. And you don't have that right now. You have a supermajority that dictates we are excluded from the table. Now they want to exclude the public from the ballot box and voting and being represented. So we certainly are looking at flipping some seats and bringing that balance back.
All right, so we've only got a few more minutes. We got to get to some other questions here. Tim Hernandez and Elizabeth Epps, they're like the two that have been fired but asked to work one more shift. Give me a sense of what it's like down there.
What is that going
with
on?
those two lunatics?
Are they even showing up?
All right.
Well, they were both there yesterday.
Right.
They will, I'm guessing, both be there today. And today, we really weren't on the floor yesterday for very long. So today is going to be where we'll see what happens. We are anticipating that there will be some antics. I really think that everybody thinks that. It's not just them. There's a couple of other folks, Jennifer Parenti, who pulled out of her race up in Erie and
against Woog.
Yeah,
right?
against Woog. And so she's there, and she's perfectly capable of creating her own little pyrotechnical display. So,
oh my goodness.
We have lots of different options going on here.
All right. Second question: who's the chairman of the Colorado Republican Party right now?
Ooh. Multiple choice.
Lisa hands me the microphone.
That is wonderful.
So I'm going to pivot here. This is what politicians get to do. You know, the RNC, and they all can figure out how to deal with that mess. Our focus here for Lisa and I is down there at the legislature in the special session, top property tax, and trying to win some races. What they want to do, it's kind of like, you know, in the Army, at certain point, you don't care what headquarters does. You're on the ground. You have your job to do, and that's what we are focused on doing. Right. So I'm going to go do our job, and we're going to go out there and fight, and we'll let the RNC and the Colorado GOP fight it out, and they can figure that out.
Golf clap for that very clever and strategic answer. Nicely done. I'm a little tiny clap here. That is fantastic. Nicely done, sir. Nicely done, Anthony.
I mean, you all are both running races. You're, Lisa, are running for state senate. That's a jump to another office. I want to. I don't necessarily, because Frank McNulty is one of my best friends. I can't say that, you know, it's a job improvement, or I'll get a call from him about how great the house is and all that stuff. So, you know, you're going for state senate. Anthony Hartsook, you're running for re-election. You're knocking doors. You're talking to people. Give me 100%. An insight on what the voters are telling you that we may not know watching Kyle Clark or, you know, any of the rest of the media.
You know, I hear at the doors that people are really, really concerned about the direction of the state. They are really frustrated with the cost of living. They are really frustrated with their property taxes. They want the state government to work on their behalf as opposed to work for special interests. And that's what they see. And you don't hear that from Kyle Clark, because he's not talking about how the teachers unions and the environmental lobby are literally running the state right now.
And Planned Parenthood.
And Planned Parenthood.
I've sat down there. I ran a lobbying operation 100%. For the Centennial Institute for 8 years, where I would sit down there and literally watch bags of money come in. I mean, not really, but
they have little wagons, right? Just like, you know, roll it in and out.
And sometimes they're the illegal immigrants with backpacks, and they have the money in the back there, and they come in. I'm sorry, I had to do that.
But that's what we hear that's what I hear at the doors. And Anthony.
Absolutely. I mean, inflation, cost of living, and let's look at the restaurant we're sitting in here. So Doug's Diner. You have businesses. As we go around and we talk to businesses, we have seen tremendous amounts of legislation that are hammering them away on their ability to hire, run shifts, serve the customers. I'm going to put in the plug here for Parker. We got the wine walks coming back because the state shut them down. And we brought back the Parker wine walks, which will be here in September. Parker wine walks are a big community family event run by the Chamber of Commerce, supported with all the small businesses, and they were covered under the umbrella policy. Yeah. And that got shut down by the state liquor board. So I ran a bill that allows that. So now across the state, and just picture all these small communities or big communities. I mean, you have Arvada, Castle Rock, Parker, you go up into the mountains, go out to the Western Slopes and Grand Junction, all the downtown community districts that have these chambers of commerce with all of these small family-owned businesses can now hold festival events. And you have, in this case, wine walks. Now, there's very specific laws where you can't just walk around with an open container. You have to use it and consume it inside
a paper bag.
Can't walk down the street in a paper bag. But you get to go in the small business. They get to hear their little pitch. You get to see what they're selling and their wares. And it's a great community building event. It does things for the kids. And there's all kinds of things that we do out there. This is what people and businesses want. They want the government out of their lives and leaving them alone so they can go out and live their life, have fun, and do their job, not be told which way to step, what you can and can't do. Oh, you can't work 40 hours. You can only work this amount of time frame. And you can only work this on the shift. They don't want to hear that all the time.
No, they don't. We had Vladimir Archuleta on the show yesterday and was talking about the regulations that he's hearing from downtown businesses and things like, so you have a downtown business and you're now responsible, depending on how much of that business you take up, to look at greenhouse emissions, look at greenhouse gases. But those are investments of time, effort, money that a small business doesn't need to make, nor can they make. That shouldn't be their responsibility. I'm sorry. I'm of the opinion that if the state legislature and if the government, they want those businesses to have the impact of what are the greenhouse gases. If they want to look at that, fund it and have the state take care of it. The state then looks at it, at least make it. Don't tell the small business, you now have this extra thing to take care of. It is hard enough to get a small business off the ground regularly. Stop putting things that are hiccups in the way of having them achieve, because if we can get more small business achieving, more people make money, the communities do better. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the regulations are killing so many small businesses right now in the state. It's awful.
Yeah, and so I'm going to sort of circle back to what we're doing today, which is talking about property tax down at the state capitol. And one of my favorite things about this compromise bill, along with the reductions for residential property, are the big cuts for non-residential property. That is going to help our business community so much. It is long overdue relief for them, and they need it. Our businesses are struggling. If you look at the number of business permits that have been taken out at the Secretary of State's office, they are down. The number of renewals is astronomical.
And the process is
non-renewals is astronomical.
And they drag their feet. The process is awful. It's onerous. It takes you so long to get through the process. You've got to wait for so long until you can actually get into the brick and mortar and start making the business work. It's futile to expect a small business owner to be able to absorb that amount of dead time inside of a business before getting the thing off the ground. Unless you're independently wealthy, you can't. You've either got to work another job while you're trying to get this business off the ground, which makes it more difficult. It's okay, I could really go on for a while.
Kyle Clark, report on that.
Yes,
okay?
Yes.
Right. Well, Anthony Hartsook and Lisa Frizzell, state representatives representing Castle Rock and Parker, joining us here live today on their way down to the state capitol. They've got to sit down there and deal with all that craziness. So hopefully you got a good breakfast.
Yes.
We're broadcasting live here from Doug's Diner off of Main Street, supporting local businesses while fighting for local businesses.
Yes.
So thank you for
so
being
much.
down
Thank you,
there,
gentlemen.
State
God
Capitol.
bless.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Oh,
Glad
thank
to
you.
have you all.
Go do the good work and make sure you keep that initiative process rolling, because that's crap. We sure appreciate all of you. Yes.
They're
Thank you
fueled up
so
and
much.
ready to go.
They
Thank
are
you
ready.
all so much.
We are sending them down to do the good work down at the Capitol. This is awesome.
We'll continue with the Jeff and Bill show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Thank you so much.
here.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show with a live broadcast from Doug's Diner in Parker. Lots of good people showing up. Melissa's here.
Melissa's here. Took pictures with her. Was hanging with artists. Saw Bill. Bill works as a network engineer, and he says that if you come down here, try the biscuits and gravy. That's one of his go-tos in the morning to fuel him up while he goes out there and does the good hard work that each and every one of us are doing. So we appreciate everyone showing up this morning, hanging out with us. Bill also said the omelet, the vegetarian omelet, is fantastic as well if you're looking for something that's vegetarian side of things. So
we got members of the American Constitutional Party down here too.
Hey,
they're trying to get their candidate on the ballot.
Excellent. Yeah, that'll be fun.
Enjoy your democratic process while you have it before the Democrats take it away.
They say no more initiative process. No more of that.
All right, let's go to the phones. Joan Lakewood, you're on the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. Good morning, Joan.
Good morning, Joan.
Good morning. I called because I wanted to weigh in on the Kamala debate bet. And I will bet a breakfast similar to the breakfast that we took down to the House of Representatives yesterday with cheesy chili eggs and homemade gluten-free granola. And I believe that Kamala will be the loser because she's changing the rules. And she wants to sit down during this debate because her handlers have realized that she can't think on her feet.
She can't.
That's funny.
I mean, but don't you think that she was this great prosecutor that was going to deliver all this? I mean, she's been, not only district attorney, but attorney general. Can't she stand on her feet?
No, because, one of the reasons I called in is because Brocker checked in, and I love Brocker. And
he's still here.
He was self-deprecating about how he lost to Weiser. And Weiser is the AG. Does he do anything in any courtroom anywhere? And I'm pretty sure
that's a really good point.
Was prosecutor, she didn't do anything anywhere because she had minions that did it for her. So,
that's a really good point.
I don't think she can think on her feet. And then she wants to have notes. And the reason she wants to have notes and an open mic is that they are training her to do these bombs to get in Trump's head and stuff, similar to like when Trump said to Hillary, "You'd be in jail." They're training her on that, but she can't remember them, so that she has to have the notes.
I think you're probably right. Well, Joan, I appreciate the call.
Thanks, Joan.
Joan's line will be open 303-696-1971.
That's kind of cool. What's brought breakfast down to the lawmakers yesterday? That's cool.
That's awesome. Thank you, Joan, for doing that.
But I'm also not going to point out the fact that she didn't come to see us to have breakfast with us. My feelings are tiny a little bit.
But she did bring you wings at one time. Remember?
She did. Although I know the area of town that she lives in. And it's kind of a hike all the way over here in Parker. So I get it. I'm just poking fun at Joan because we like her. But you also got Jay on the line as far as phone calls.
Yep.
Jay, welcome to the Jeff and Bill Show. What's on your mind?
Oh, great show about the tax issue with those two representatives.
Yeah.
We have some properties that went from $3,500 a year to $8,200 a year in 1 year for taxes.
Wow.
Jeez.
I mean, how are you supposed to, my neighbors, how are they supposed to afford it? They're retired. They're just trying to price us out of our properties is what I think they're doing.
Yeah. How does anybody have that kind of increase in their revenue for their budget over the course of year over year? You're absolutely right. They're just trying to squeeze it out. And what do you think of the idea that Anthony was talking about, where, of course, the Democrats are trying to make it harder, if not impossible, for people like you, Jeff, myself, and the rest of our listeners to run an initiative that would help our taxes, especially property taxes. I mean, isn't that just what you'd expect out of the Democrats?
Sure. Well, what they want is monopoly, just like Xcel Energy has, and that's where they charge us $400 for power, just like Denver Water in Denver. Anytime you give a monopoly to anybody, especially in politics, the party's over, and people need to step up and run for the city offices and the lower offices and continue to migrate, because this is really, really serious. When you see for sale signs, people selling their home just because the taxes have gone up and their homes are paid off. Their homes are paid off. It's very, very serious.
Well,
they their whole life to buy these homes.
Yeah, no, I mean, what you get out of Democrats is special interest governing, right? So their primary constituency are not the people. I've seen this firsthand. Their primary constituency are the teachers' unions, the ACLU, Planned Parenthood, groups like that get them elected. They're the ones who put the money into the campaigns. They're the ones that, give them the fuel to get them across the line and get them elected. So they're going to be bagmen. They're going to deliver for those special interest groups. And when those teachers unions want more money, when the labor unions want more money, when the special interest groups want more money, they're going to deliver for them. Damned the taxes that are necessary to do that. They're just not going to care. So they're going to keep bringing them up.
Well, and they're also taxing businesses out of business by not only tax for businesses. We have businesses in Denver, but all the employee fees and all of the supplemental things that they charge. Where if you look at a lot of the nice restaurants, they've all moved to Castle Rock. And they're living on Castle Rock. Some of the greatest restaurants are just north of Castle Rock because they can't handle the Denver thing. La Loma, thank you for that. I forgot. Renee's her name. She races cars with us. She races a 356. She races all over the place in this little gray. And people will vote with their feet. We used to have a lot of properties in Denver, and now I don't even know the people in Denver. It's almost like this alienation when you go down to try to do something with the city council. It's just this weird nebulous. It's like a strange science fiction movie. Where are these people really from? They're not from Colorado, and they're definitely not loving of this state or this country. There's no question.
And you're right, Jay. People are voting with their feet. And as you talked about the idea of restaurants moving to Castle Rock and elsewhere, just like we're in Parker here at Doug's Diner, that's where the growth is. We talked with Lindsay from Doug's yesterday, and she talked about how her growth opportunities are in the outside communities, the outside regions of the Colorado Metro Denver area. They're looking at moving into Meade. It's easier for them to move into Meade and make money than it would be to open up a location downtown because of the construction, because of the problem of parking, because of crime, because of a long litany of issues, and also a bunch of regulations. So this is a family-owned, run place that has numerous locations across Colorado. Guess where they're not going? Downtown. They're making hay elsewhere in tiny communities. They're in Loveland. They're in Meade. We're hanging here in Parker because that's what they do. And that's where they, just like you talked about it, that's where the regulations are easier. And that's where people are voting with their feet. They're getting into those smaller communities and staying home rather than going down and dealing with the mess that is downtown. You're right.
Well, and that's real America. When we were building places downtown, like 15th and Larimer, we did Brooks Towers, 17 stories. We had to do that today. We remodel the whole building. We had to do that today. We would have to turn that whole building into an electrically heated building. Now, do you guys remember what electric heat was in the 80s? You know how much that
I remember
cost?
The sound. Yep.
You remember the sound of the meter. That's right. So people that don't know that, try to do that. And if you were in a restaurant in Denver, if you try to build restaurants, which we have done, they all have to be 98% efficient and electric. You are going to go broke just paying the power bill. Forget serving food. And I'm not joking at all. It's very serious.
No, you're not, man. Hey, Jay, thanks for the phone call. Appreciate you, man. Hopefully next time you can come out and have breakfast with us. We appreciate calling the Jeff and Bill show. We're going to step away for a second. We'll be back. But before we go, I've got to talk to you about my friends at Balance Well Space. I am rocking my brand new knee brace today. Yeah, I'm doing the shorts. I shouldn't be out in public all the time with shorts on, but I got to do it because I've got this amazing new knee brace from my friends at Balance Well Space. And what they do is it's integrative medicine. And what it is, okay, let me explain. Integrative medicine means in one office, you get all the treatments that you need. They do chiropractic, neuropathy, physical rehabilitation, wave therapy, regenerative care, trigger point injections, and more. Plus, they've got some amazing cutting edge therapies as well. Here's how it works. You go to balancewellspace.com, just like I did. You go and you make an appointment and you go talk to Dr. Julie, Dr. Jess, the team. They ask you questions. They poke, they prod. They say what hurts. And then also they ask, what are you not doing based on the pain? What are those things that you want to be able to do? And then they make a custom pain plan just for you. They take a look at everything they offer and then they put it together, and you come back and they go to work and they fix what ails you. They've been working on my shoulder. I've got lower back issues. My bottom two vertebrae are fusing. They're doing amazing things there. And now this knee. I've got a torn meniscus in my left knee that I've been dealing with for years. And the only solution was surgery until I talked to the team at Balance Wellspace. They said, we don't have to do surgery at all. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do some traction. We're going to do some exercises. We're going to do some building up the muscles and ligaments. Then we're going to do some trigger point injections. Then we're going to start some regenerative care. And then I get my magic knee brace. And I just got some more regenerative trigger point injection shots yesterday for both my knee and back. So now my knee is feeling stronger and better than it has in years. Okay, I went and I partied my butt off at 2 different concerts this weekend. Back wasn't hurting the next day, even though I was standing the entire time. And I wasn't worried about my knee either. Because of the brace and because of the work, I was able to stand normally. So that also meant other parts of my body weren't aching because I wasn't standing awkwardly as well. Normally it would be my lower back and my hip after doing shows like that. 2 nights in a row, 2.5 hours minimum standing, and I was fine the next day. I felt like I was in my 20s again. This is the change I want Balance Wellspace to make in your life as well. I want them to take away the pain just like they're taking away the pain in my life. You don't have to live this way. Check them out at balancewellspace.com. Make an appointment, and they'll go to work for you. balancewellspace.com. It's a difference of integrative medicine because they take care of you in one stop. You don't drive all over town and have to go different places. One stop, one treatment, and you're done. Check them out, balancewellspace.com, balancewellspace.com, and tell them you heard about them on the Jeff and Bill Show.
When we come back in the 8 o'clock hour, Deb Flora joins us as well as Abe Layden. You're not going to want to miss it. The Jeff and Bill Show broadcasting live from Doug's Diner.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show, broadcasting live from Doug's Diner and Parker, having a ton of fun with everybody out here. Come on down, enjoy some great food and some coffee and orange juice, and get your Tuesday started. We're at the Parker Hotel, 18595 East Main Street, 18595 East Main Street. They have omelets. They've got biscuits and gravy. They've got crepes. They've got pancakes. They even serve lunch right now.
Yes, they
do. They got a spicy Reuben.
We're going to be doing lunch later today here in the 9 o'clock hour. We're going to have them do some lunch
burger with peanut butter and jelly and green chili.
Oh, yeah. We're going to have to throw down on that one.
At least have one bite of that.
Absolutely. We're going to be splitting both the spicy Reuben.
The place is filling up. People are having fun. Look, it's a Tuesday morning. This is where you got to start your day. Yes. You get the food here, which is naturally sourced from local farmers, and you're going to today.
Yeah, you are. In fact, Bill was hanging out with us earlier. He just had to leave to go to his job because, he has to go make the money. But he was talking about he comes here and fills up for breakfast before going to work because of the staff, because of how they execute things, because it's like coming and seeing friends every day. They, it's like Cheers. They know your name. They know who you are. You come in and it's just like family. It's a nice open seating style, but it's not big enough to where you feel like you're in this giant restaurant. It still feels like you're hanging out with friends. So this is wonderful. Come on down. Join us at Doug's Diner between 20 Mile and Parker Road on Main Street, north side in the Parker Hotel. That's where we are. Plenty of parking outside. We were able to get here in the dark. I was able to pick out a nice parking space. There's great parking lots. It's important to me. I'm a dark. I always look at parking. That's always important to me. I live downtown. Finding parking around Poets Row is nuts. So from then on, I'm always up to the park. You have to find parking.
We see some cowboys walking by. That may be, is that Fabricatory?
Oh, it might be. I don't know. And we got Deb Flora coming up.
Yeah, Fab just walked in. It's like Cheers here when they walk in.
It's fantastic.
Hey, Fabricatory.
Yep. And Deb Flora showed up.
He's
she said
going
this is her
to
favorite
the Wrestlers later today. Looking sharp,
look at
buddy.
that, my man. That is one hell of a shirt.
I know.
Wow.
Well, he's going down to Pueblo to the state fair with the Denver Rustlers. That's a great deal where they go support the kids in the 4-H program and all that stuff.
Oh, that's something.
He walked out literally out of like a Marlboro commercial.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm going to take
sharp, man.
Now, I have seen Jeff, rock the cowboy hat and stuff, and he looks really good. And this is one of the things in how John looks. He looks fantastic.
One of us that looks like a real cowboy.
Yeah, but I look like a cosplayer when I do that.
Well,
I put on those shirts. I put on the cowboy hat.
I
look like someone's like,
level.
Who's
His name's Jared Polis.
Yes.
When you talk about a guy that's into cosplay.
Okay. I can at least do it a little better than Jared, but I'm not much better. I look that ridiculous in it, and it's just awful. And I feel so bad because it's so important for Colorado, especially shout out to the 4-H. I love the fact that John's going down there.
We got to talk about who's in the room right now.
Yeah.
You got George Brockler.
Yes.
You got John Fabricatory.
Yes.
You got Deborah Flora.
Yes.
Man, it is. And you got Blake Olson. You got the whole crew down here. It's seriously like Cheers.
It is.
We're all hanging out having a
We're
ton
just
of fun.
talking. It's so cool. It is so nice. Come on out here and see us at Doug's Diner.
In the next hour, 8 o'clock hour, Deb Flora is going to be back on the radio with us.
Coming back home. The prodigal daughter has returned. She is going to talk to us about what she's doing. And she did give us a little bit of a treat. Doug's Diner is her favorite restaurant in this location, in this area. So she is also going to give us the secret. What is the Deb Flora go-to special? So we're going to find out about what she orders off the menu as well. I can't wait to find out.
That'll be a lot of fun. Abe Layden will be joining us a little bit later on a policy issue in Douglas County. They got 86% of the homeless to leave.
Wow. How? What did they do? How the hell did they do that?
Stopped giving them money. Shockingly.
Oh, okay. That's weird.
And then the homeless went, wait, Mayor Mike, what do you got for us? The Mayor Mike's like, come on down. We got lots for
you. We will raise taxes in order to give you the free stuff.
We're continuing live at Doug's Diner. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
8 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show on 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, along with Billy Thorpe, bringing you the freshest insights and hottest takes from the right, left, and center with a special live broadcast at Doug's Diner in Parker, right off of Main Street here. We're having a ton of fun. The food is delicious. We got coffee and orange juice, all to get your Tuesday morning started so you can go out there and actually improve this country, unlike our government leaders that just print money and steal yours. So come on down and get fueled up for the difference you're making out there in this great country of ours. We're at 18595 East Main Street. 18595 East Main Street. When we come back from the Blake Olson News, Deb Flora.
Yes, in the house.
Queen of 710 KNUS has returned.
She's doing this. She's doing the wave. She's doing the royal wave.
She knows how to do that.
Elbow, wrist. Elbow, wrist.
Miss Colorado.
I got to do that.
I think, right? So Deb's going to join us. She's got a new project that she's working on.
Yeah, can't wait to
so
hear.
Really looking forward to that. And come on down, enjoy some food, get a chance to hang out with us. You got the whole 710 KNUS. John Fabricatori is here. George Brockler's here. And even Jonathan Flores here. So
yeah, and we had Lisa Frizzell earlier, Anthony Hartsook, both fueling up here at Doug's Diner before going downtown to fight the good fight and try to keep the Democrats from taking more of your money. Surprisingly enough, the Democrats ran a bunch of bills yesterday that would increase property taxes and then prevent you from voting on them. That's great. Never happens. Oh, man. This is why we can't have nice things.
All right, let's go to the news with Blake Olson, who's live here as well.
Hey, you know, one of the cool things about Doug's, they have these old game programs on the walls, like college football programs.
Yeah.
There's a 1936 one, Colorado College playing CU in football.
Colorado College had a football team?
Yeah.
Do they still have one?
No, they don't. I think they got rid of it like 15 years ago.
No, this
used to be Division III.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is crazy that Blake just mentioned that because I had to go to the Little Billy's room during the break there.
Did you take a picture?
Yeah, I took a picture inside the bathroom because they have got Colorado versus Northwestern 1951 on the wall. Look at that.
I love
that. Is
crazy.
crazy.
Let me see that again.
Yeah, okay, here. I'll throw it down to you. And 25 cents for the official game program.
That is awesome. Look at that helmet.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
That is unbelievable. I love that.
And they've also got jerseys from local high school teams, around. We're going to get them to put up one Lou High one because that's where Jeff's kids are going. And we got to make sure we represent Lou High out here. Got Ponderosa, some other ones. Yeah. And the other thing, they've got the kids gallery. So kids come in here and they draw pictures and stuff. They'll hang it up just like you put the art on the refrigerator at home, but it hangs out here at Doug's. So
my kids love coming to Doug's.
Oh,
they love it. They're treated well.
Excellent.
No doubt. All right, 62 and sunny. I know Deb's ready to rock and roll here. Beautiful day outside, expecting highs in the upper 80s today. The 7-10 5-day forecast is coming up. Our top story, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg told the House Judiciary Committee that the Biden administration pressured Facebook to censor Americans. Wow. Imagine that. Finally, he said the administration leaned on the social media company to censor COVID-19 content and acknowledged that it was wrong to block the coverage of Hunter Biden's infamous laptop. Amazing. It's all coming out. Remember, that was a conspiracy theory. VP Kamala Harris has been avoiding the media for nearly 40 days now, and former President Trump thinking twice about having the debate on ABC on September 10th. They were supposed to have 3 debates, now 1. Harris wants the mics to be open and also wants to change some of the rules. She's probably trying to get out of the debate, more than likely. DJT is warning that World War III might erupt soon, and he told the National Guard Association in Detroit that he is the best candidate to prevent that from happening. A federal judge in Texas is blocking a program that would give legal status to illegals married to American citizens. The Biden administration Their plan started earlier this month and would have affected around 500,000 immigrants in the country without legal status. Jury selection has started for the trial of Ahmad Alissa, the accused Boulder King super shooter. 10 people were murdered in the store 3 years ago. Jurors began picking up their questionnaires on Monday. A 32-year-old man has been arrested in connection with the Saturday morning deadly two-vehicle crash on I-25 near downtown and 20th Street. One person pronounced dead at the scene. The driver arrested, his name Jared Martin, faces a vehicular homicide charge. All right, it is 58 in Castle Rock, 59 in North Glen, 62 in Denver. Once again, the Rockies beat the Marlins 3-2. That's the final from Monday. Jeff and Bill continue. Yes, we are from Doug's Diner in beautiful Parker. Come on down and see us on Main Street. It is Tuesday morning. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Here's your 7-10 5-day forecast. Well, monsoonal moisture has gotten swept away, so the chances of thunderstorms are going to be much lower here in the coming days. Mostly sunny with mid-80s today, upper 50s tonight, warmer. Back up to near 90 Wednesday, cooling to the low to mid-80s Thursday, mid to upper 80s Friday, 80s to low 90s Saturday. Weather brought to you by branchplanning.com. Secure your future retirement with a reliable income stream. Annuities can provide guaranteed payments, giving you peace of mind. Get your complimentary review at branchplanning.com or call 303-219-0088. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Diner in Parker, right off of Main Street. If you want to come join us, the food is delicious. 18595 East Main Street, 18595 East Main Street, Parker, Colorado. It's filling up.
Even the coffee's good.
Mark Baisley just walked in. It's kind of like Cheers. So
it
your friends walk in, and
everybody shows up.
Hey, Mark, and George.
George.
You know,
it's fantastic.
We say she's kind of the Christy Alley of
yes,
Cheers,
she is, absolutely.
Right?
Yes, absolutely, Christy Alley.
Stop making me blush.
Deb Flora in the house. This is fantastic.
Great to be with you all. Hey, thanks for coming to my neighborhood. This is my husband's favorite breakfast place. I know that's why you planned it this way, right?
It is.
Thank you.
We said, where does Deb want to go? And then now here's the thing. Before we start the deeper conversation, since this is your favorite thing, what is the Deb Flora go-to breakfast item?
Well, there you go. You know, one thing I have to give a shout out to Doug's. They're amazing, friendly, great food. And here's a challenge. They have something called the Papas. And if you can't handle it, they have the Wimpies.
Oh, yes.
So the challenge is on. But I'm kind of a traditionalist. I get the Eggs Benedict. My husband, who grew up in Southern Ohio farm community, he gets the basic. I mean, it's just the basic is great. Thick bacon. It's just, there we go. I could go on and on.
Now, talk to me about Eggs Benedict and a connoisseur of that. Talk to me about how they use the Canadian bacon and the hollandaise sauce, because those are really the two ingredients inside of that. So
you know what? It's excellent. That's what I have to say. It is thick bacon. It's just thick ham that is in a Canadian bacon.
Yep.
Excellent. Everything about it is. Plus, I just love the fact that it's locally owned. And you guys, by the way, forgot a high school team jersey. Our son played for Chaparral, and it's right over there. Thank you very much.
Oh, nice job.
He played football for Chaparral. He's now in college playing football.
That's fantastic.
There you go. Sorry, not to call you out, but
now we got the Blake, the sports guy here. What position does he play?
He is a wide receiver. He actually received a scholarship to play at an amazing Christian conservative university in Northwest Iowa.
What's the name of it?
It's Dordt University.
And then they play Co, don't they?
Yeah, they do. It's an NAIA school, but I have to say it's good heritage. My dad played basketball for the Iowa Hawkeyes, so we're just got the roots going down.
So they're an NAIA program.
Yes, they are.
That's so funny. Right before you said that, my nephew just texted me his practice plays. He's a freshman at an NAIA school in Nebraska.
Well, and here's the best thing I can say. Football is great. It brought him there. But when all the riots were going on all the campuses, the pro-Hamas riots, I asked our son what was happening at his school. Well, that week, they had Vivek Ramaswamy. They had Donald Trump. They had the governor of Florida. And he said, yeah. And then we didn't talk so much about, the politics of it. They actually let the students think.
Nice.
And question, but it's a great school, and there are some still out there like that.
Yeah, there are. Congratulations! That's fantastic.
Thank you.
All right, so you've got a big event coming up here.
Yes,
Deborah Flora, tell us all about the March for Kids.
You got it, 100%. Well, actually, Jeff, I met Tina Deskovich at the Western Conservative Summit last summer when we were broadcasting when I was still on KNUS, and we started talking about this vision because you look in history, and most of the movements in history get to a certain point, plateau, and then they peter out. They do not reach critical mass.
Yep.
Very few have. You've got the suffrage movement, you have the civil rights movement. So we started talking about what would it take to get the parental rights movement, educational freedom, protecting girls' safe spaces and sports, letting every child flourish. What would it take to get that to critical mass? Because as you know, I've been involved in this for a long time, flipping our own school board, starting Parents United America. My husband and I did the documentary, Whose Children Are They? And we said, you know what? It's time to gather together. So Tina was studying the Civil Rights March that Martin Luther King Jr. had at the Lincoln Memorial. And we thought, you know what? This transcends, and we need to galvanize everyone together. So this Saturday, March 31st in Washington, D.C., we're having the first ever March for Kids. And it's a rally because of security concerns. We were going to have it at the Jefferson Memorial. I think we all know it's a pretty chaotic environment out there in many ways. So it's going to instead be at the DAR building, but I'll be speaking alongside Tulsi Gabbard, Dr. Alveda King, Glenn Beck, and many others who've been on the front lines of this movement. So I invite everyone to join us. This is a chance to show everyone, people from every walk of life. We have, the Muslim dads in Detroit. We have people that are, from different communities, from every walk of life. So this is for everyone to come, go to March for Kids. That's FOR, March for Kids. We want to see you there.
Now, is there a way that it maybe, we don't have the time to go and join you in DC? Is there a way to stream or watch online as well? Can I find it March for Kids?
That is a great question, and I will find that out. But I will say everything you want to know is at the March for Kids, FOR Kids. And you can be a part of the movement. And we're building to make this the next longest ongoing march in DC after the March for Life.
Yeah,
wonderful.
Yeah, because it's a way to let everyone know that even though COVID is past, that was a revolution amongst parents, that parents haven't gone back to sleep. They understand they've got to stand up for their children's rights. So it's going to be a great event.
Colorado has a unique history with the Parental Bill of Rights. They tried to do it in the 90s as a ballot initiative, and it failed. Basically, the argument being, well, now parents are just going to be able to abuse their kids and won't be held accountable for it. We've got some work to do.
Mm-hmm.
We've tried to run those down at the state capitol, the idea of Parental Bill of Rights and strengthening that, and parents should know if their kids get an abortion or want a trans. We shouldn't be hiding that. But the progressives seem to shoot this down over and over and over again. They seem to have no problem whatsoever hiding what they're doing to your kids from parents. Why is that, you think?
It's the reason why we named our documentary, Whose Children Are They? It's the fundamental question of our time. There is one view, and I was in the Soviet Union, I talked about this, where they really do believe the state has the right, the authority, the moral obligation to educate a child on everything, worldview, political view, and the ultimate allegiance is to the state, and it's a statist view. We know here in the United States of America that the family is the building block of Western civilization. And by the way, no bureaucrat knows what your kid likes to eat or doesn't like to eat, what keeps them up at night, what brings a great joy. Anyone who's had more than one child knows how different they are.
Well, and the best example I have of how no one really pays attention to kids is, have you ever seen dads at a multiple family barbecue?
Oh yeah.
Right? Where like everybody's standing around. Who's watching the kids? I don't know. I don't know who's actually in charge of watching little Jimmy.
Yeah.
Because nobody's really in charge, right?
Right.
And that's what happens with the state. I understand your teachers are going to educate your kids, all that stuff, but who's ultimately responsible for those details? They're not paying that close of attention.
Well, we've gotten so far from academics in school, and this isn't for we're pro-teacher. The reality is teachers have been asked to be everything from social justice warrior creators to mental health therapists to SEL experts, instead of just getting to teach academics. And I have a great conversation with Democrats, with unaffiliated, and with Republicans, because this transcends partisan lines.
Yeah.
I asked them, do you think education is better than it was 20, 30, 40 years ago? I mean, statistically, we know it's abysmal.
Yep.
Even here in Colorado, the latest statistics, I'm not sure, but less than 40% read at grade level, less than 30% do math at grade level. If we want children to flourish, time to get the schools back to teaching writing, reading, arithmetic, science, and by the way, critical thinking. That's like the most important thing for life. Yes,
and
exactly.
And Deb Flora joining Jeff and Bill live. Yes, she is back in her old stomping grounds talking about the March for Kids. It is kicking off the first time ever, going to be eventually the second largest march in this entire country, right after the March for Life, March for Kids. But you can be there on the inaugural day coming up this Saturday in D.C. Check out the website, March for Kids, FOR, March for Kids. Now, Deb, I understand what you're talking about with the parents and getting them involved in the teachers. I have a lot of educators in my family, 4 directly. And one of the people that's been involved in education for years told me a story, and I always come back to this one, where the child is sitting in the office and the child has been misbehaving. The child, and this is in high school, there should be something disciplinary going on. And they're talking about, is this going to be another suspension or is this going to be an expulsion? And they're talking about this behavior is happening over and over and over and over in the school. And the mother stares across the desk at the educators and says, well, you have them 7 hours a day. Why can't you fix them?
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
And that's what they're looking at is there are people out there that are saying, and this is where our schools, in my opinion, the teachers unions, but also the schools are getting this backwards, is they're coming in as if they have to fix the kids. That's not their role. Not at all. They need to educate the kids, and we need to get back to that and putting more on the idea of the onus of the parents. And that's where you're going with the March for Kids.
It is 100%.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, it takes every side.
Yes.
The parents that we're talking about, they're coming to the March for Kids, relish their role as the parents and want to advocate for that. There has been a period of time where parents have been told, drop your kid off at the schoolroom door and stay out of everything else. That's not most of the teachers, because they're bearing with having to deal with the incredibly challenging discipline problems. It's dangerous to be a teacher right now in many schools. And so it's got to be everyone coming together, parents and teachers, those who are in the community. And it's really what we need to get back to. But I want to share another bright spot, because one of the other things I'm doing is I've been on the board of ACE Scholarships. ACE is an organization that has provided scholarships to low-income students for over 25 years, I believe it is. And the statistics prove themselves. That the motto is no child should be trapped in a failing school because of their zip code. I mean, there's a school in downtown Denver. When I was speaking at the school choice rally, there's a school just a stone's throw from the Capitol building where less than 10% of the students read at grade level, less than 7% do math at grade level.
Wow.
How are those students supposed to achieve anything?
Right.
And the goal is to allow school choice. It benefits, by the way, those who are in lower income, failing schools more than anyone. So anyway, ACE Scholarships is also leading the way on something called ESAs. This is happening all over red states where it is an education savings account. Right now in Utah, where ACE is the program manager, every family in this lower income bracket gets $8,000 for their kids' education. It's going to be an exciting thing to see around the country as that kind of educational freedom really expands.
Now, can you talk to me about the ESAs? What are, how do they get access to that educational money? When does it kick in? Because what I'm worried about are there's some people going to go, hey, the kid just got $8,000. We have $8,000 now on our account. So I know there's going to be some guardrails.
Yes.
How does the money kick in and when does it kick in? Because it's a great idea.
Well, many states have done this. Some states like Arkansas, and I believe it is Arizona, the state actually, facilitates it. But for instance, in Utah, they've hired ACE Scholarships to be the program manager. And yes, the balance always is accountability, and yet freedom for the parents.
Yes.
At the end of the day, the parents, sign an affidavit that they're using for educational purposes, and
Sorry,
they are.
no new PlayStations.
Yeah, no Mercedes-Benz, although you can't get one for $8,000, right? So
it's more like a PlayStation.
But I think this is where we need a cultural shift back to trusting the parents.
Yeah.
There are guardrails, but at the end of the day, every parent knows their child best. And by the way, with this micro school, homeschool, new innovative school model, the price of education has plummeted. Yeah. When you look at some areas in urban centers where they're spending $30,000-$40,000 a student.
Right.
And what are we getting for it? I mean, that's where taxpayers. Yes. Administrators have gone up about 75%. At the same time, teachers have gone up 17%.
Yeah, exactly.
It is a problem. But there's a lot of bright spots, and it's happening all over the place, especially in DC this Saturday. Hope everyone joins us.
March for Kids. The website is marchforkids.com. Marchforkids.com. Fighting to restore the idea of parental rights. Look, I mean, the big thing for people to understand is that there's an agenda being driven by a worldview that the state belongs to kids, right? And I think as parents learn more and more about these stories, like Brandy Bradley's story, we had her on yesterday, 15-year-old going to world history. Let's talk about, Leonardo da Vinci and gender fluidity and how Mona Lisa is a depiction of his feminine side. You're just it's such a load of crap.
How about you talk about
Nobody
his
wants to
inventions,
deal with
his
this.
art,
Right.
his philosophy, the fact that he, revolutionized during the Renaissance period thinking.
But we're going to send kids to school to do that. I think parents are we're done. We're done. And there's all these great alternatives.
There are.
They're ready to move on.
And it is something where we have to stay awake. My concern about the parental rights movement is once kids went back into school, it's easy to not pay attention anymore.
Yep, right.
Doesn't mean that suddenly the programs are fixed from what they saw. So people need to stay vigilant. They need to let people know that the parental rights movement is alive and well, and that it is simply about the flourishing of every child. And one of the areas that we're standing on is obviously protecting girls' sports and safe spaces.
Yep.
I mean, that transcends every partisan divide. Everybody understands a young girl should not be forced to shower next to an anatomical
fully
male.
intact. That's the worst.
Not even just the showering. The idea of putting a female on a competitive platform with a biological male. That can't work. There's a reason why we fought for years, and this is personal for me because I was in an era where we didn't have a lot of girl sports, and the girls in my life had to fight tooth and nail to get their own teams. The last thing that the high schools wanted to do was fund their teams. They didn't want to spend any money on it at all. And now they finally have teams that are succeeding, and now we want to have other people crossing into it. And again, I'm fine with many of the transgender rights and areas, and we may disagree on a number of those, but as far as sports, it is not an even playing field because there are hardcore biological differences. That's why we have difference in the sports to begin with. Other than that, we just cut it all off and just call it sport and everybody show up, and it's crap.
Well, 100%. And the reality is studies have shown girls perform better in school and they have lower risk behavior every way you look at it when they get the confidence of competing in sports.
Yes.
What are we communicating to a young girl? I spoke to her mother the other day whose daughter loved running. She loved track. Her entire idea was she wanted to go to the Olympics. Whether that led her there or not, something comes out of competition that is amazing. This young girl doesn't want to compete anymore because she's seeing what's going on. And she basically said, Mom, they just took my dream from me. That is not correct. It is not right. It is not fair. And there is a way in a complex society, Bill, to make sure that students who are gender fluid have a place that they compete.
Absolutely.
You can do this without taking away the rights of girls and young women.
Absolutely, because we carved out women's sports.
Yes.
That we can carve out another group of people if we want to as far as sports. And you're absolutely right about the benefits of girls that are inside of competition, because one of the things, regardless, male, female, doesn't matter, transgender, if you're involved in that kind of competition, the thing the student learns is time management.
Yes.
They understand all the extra demands on their life, and they've got to make sure that the schoolwork is done as well. And that's why you will see, and across the board, you will see student athletes do better during the season than out of season. And you may have that experience with your son.
Oh my goodness. The discipline that our son has as a student athlete is amazing. And it's not about even the winning, although you want to strive for excellence. It's about the skills, the confidence, the sense of fairness in the United States of America, to say that a young girl who spent her entire life working on something, all we have to do is look at what happened in the Olympics. That image of the boxer on her knees weeping, not because she wasn't tough, but because everything she worked for, what she did with her dad, her goal literally was just taken from her. And that is not right. And everybody knows that we're going to win on this issue.
Because it's not an even playing field.
Deborah Flora, you can follow her on X at Deborah Flora 1, Deborah Flora 1, and she is representing and will be speaking at the National March for Kids this Saturday.
DAR building in Washington, D.C.
31st. That's right. DAR building, Washington, D.C. You can learn more about it at marchforkids.com. That's marchforkids.com. We're easing her back into the saddle here. Some interviews going.
And somebody's got to come keep you guys in line. Right?
Someone's got to keep me in line. That's where I'm the real problem on the show.
Well, Bill, I was looking at you. For anyone that
you were.
couldn't see
Absolutely.
that on the radio.
You were staring right at me. And hopefully maybe we can catch up with you next week, because I'd love to get a postmortem on what happens at the March for Kids, as far as what were the speakers like, what was the energy like, and what you guys were talking, and just to get people excited about what's coming up, because I believe this can be the second largest march in this country.
I agree. Thank you, Bill.
Absolutely.
Flora, thanks so much for
joining
us.
Thank you,
now go get your Eggs Benedict. Go make sure you get that Eggs Benedict.
You're going to see it. It's phenomenal.
Excellent. I can't wait. Thank
We're
you.
doing a live broadcast here at Doug's Diner. Come on down. John Fabricatori's here. Mark Baisley's here. I'm going to ask him a few questions in just a second. He's about to head down to session. We could talk a little bit more about what the Democrats are doing down there. Look, I want to talk to you about my friend Gay Ribble and the Empower Home team. Look, if you're considering selling your home, go with the team that's not only going to give you top-level service, but will also help you earn more from the sale of your home than any other agent. Guys, this is a business transaction for your family. I know that there's friends and family members and neighbors that want to sell your home, but this is about getting most for you. And Gay Ribble's a proven agent to get more for her sellers, because they have ready buyers looking for a home in your area. They don't just make this claim. They can sit down and actually show you their list of over 14,700 buyers. This gives you an immediate advantage. Like I said, you can hire any agent to sell your home, but isn't it all about how much you're going to put in your pocket after closing? The Empower Home team specializes in making sure you make the most amount of money. They will sell your home at your price, or Gay will buy it. Guaranteed. Reach out to my friends and realtors, Gay Ribble and the Empower Home team of Keller Williams. Call 833-301-SOLD. That's 833-301-SOLD, or go to gayasthebuyers.com. That's GAYE hasthebuyers.com. We're going to continue our special live broadcast of the Jeff and Bill Show at Doug's Diner in Parker.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show with a special live broadcast at Doug's Diner in Parker. You got to come down and join us. 18595 East Main Street. The food is cooking. They got avocado toast.
Amazing.
They've got burgers. They've got pancakes. They do lunch all day, so you can come down and get a lunch as well.
Yep.
We're going to talk to Mark Baisley here, and then Abe Layden, and then John Fabricatori. Oh, my goodness. It's like Cheers. It's like all your friends walk in. You're like, hey, Mark. All right. So let's get to Mark Baisley. You're about to head down to the state capitol.
Yes.
Now, you introduced a bill yesterday, and the Democrats loved it so much, they framed it, passed it immediately, right? They applauded it. We've solved all the property tax problems.
It's now known as Baisley Day on Monday, yes.
Guys, you know that this is publicly broadcast. So,
uh-oh, I'm in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. No, I've been looking at this. And by the way, thanks for having me here. Thanks for sending me a text and saying, "Hey, come on down, Jeff." I appreciate that. And it's great to meet Bill for the first time.
I know, it's so nice.
And let me just.
He doesn't have horns. I know a lot of people.
I know a lot of people think, and the tail, no, not the tail, no tail.
I want to add this on about Doug's Diner, that their coffee is fantastic.
Isn't it?
So yeah. I mean, it ought to be a place called a diner. It ought to be, and it is. It's quite good.
Really, it's just black. You don't have to throw anything in it. Just black coffee is fantastic here.
It is excellent. So so here's what I did yesterday, and what the Democrats summarily dismissed, and that is, I believe that the property valuation in the formula should not be the multiplier that it is, but it should be the divisor. So let me explain.
That's interesting.
Yeah, let me explain. So I was appointed to the Property Tax Commission last year. And I always look at my leadership. I go, I'm an aerospace engineer. Why are you appointing me to this? And
you're actually better than most Democrats on that.
You can do the math.
Yeah, right.
That's exactly right, Bill. Yeah, they always say, because you fight, Baisley.
Excellent.
Yeah, that's true. So, so literally, I'm in there. I'm in the third meeting of the commission, and the light bulb finally goes on over my head. I go, here's the formula problem. Now, I'm a math guy, so it did. I go, this should be a divisor. And I know it's kind of wonky, but hear me out.
Yeah. So
when we're calculating taxes, our property taxes, think about if our property valuations go up 45%, which they did, 47% on average, does that mean that the library district needs 47% more money?
Yeah. No. Right. That's a good question.
What if it were to fall? What if our property values were to fall 25%, which is possible?
Yep.
Well, would that mean that the water district needs 25% less money? No. These two have nothing to do with each other in establishing the budget for each of these special districts in our counties. It really has nothing to do with it. What the reason I believe that it has been a tradition across the country, by the way, but for decades, is because it was a fairness issue. They go, okay, if we peg the value of the property in the multiplier, then people will proportionately pay what the value of their homes is, and that's going to be more fair. It's kind of a means testing thing. Well, but think about it this way: if we simply have a budget, which is what my bill did. My bill said, let us baseline the budgets for everybody back in 2021, and then we will increase those budgets every year based on inflation and population, so that every fire district, library district, water district, and so on they will be able to count on their last year's budget plus
and have to serve more people. Right.
But then how do we distribute the responsibility to pay those property taxes? Well, that's when we put the value of our property in as the divisor. We say, all right, we take the entire pie, and then we apportion all of the responsibility for paying depending on what is the value of your home, so that the house that's worth $1.5 million pays 3 times what the house that was worth $500,000 is.
Okay.
So that it's still distributed, but we don't have the wild swings that we have now. So our property values shoot up 45%. It does not shoot up. No, it just goes up in a way that everybody can count on and everybody finds reasonable. So that's what
that sounds very reasonable. And the Democrats, of course, loved it, right?
Of course they loved it. So my bill is 3 pages. Their bill is 42 pages. They love having that 42 pages of nonsense. And if you read that, oh my gosh, it just your eyes glaze over. There's so many different.
That got introduced. It didn't go anywhere.
No, but it will be
because it made sense. But it was easy and it made sense. The thing that is beautiful about that, Mark, is that part of the problem that you outlined eloquently is when you have these wild swings in the property values, then you can't count on that budget. You don't know where the budget's going to go. The one thing the counties aren't going to want is to see the budget shrink significantly. And if property taxes all of a sudden dip, they're going to shrink that budget. They're going to look at the state. They're going to look at other people and want more tax money. When your plan says we're all going to continue to share this risk, and it's going to tamp down those giant swings up and down. And this is the crazy part. Leave Democrats to do the crazy part. The idea that you then can plan for the budget. You then can know where the money has to go and where the pennies and dollars have to go next year, because you know the percentage you're going to get. It's not this
Mark,
stop making sense.
Mark's got to head down to the state senate. We got to get Abe Layden in here. All right. Abe, come on over. Mark, appreciate it.
Stop making sense, man. Talking heads.
I will introduce this bill again next year. All right.
Please do. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Oh, Mark Baisley, keep fighting.
All right,
keep it up, man.
Us now.
Also, love the shirt, Mark. That's
County
a really nice
Commissioner
shirt. Really
Abe Layden. Thanks so much for being on the Jeff and Bill
Thanks
show.
For coming in.
Well, thanks for having me. A huge congratulations and thanks to a friend and colleague, Mark Baisley.
Yeah,
I mean, he's doing a great job down there, so we really appreciate it. Absolutely.
All right, so Abe, I had you on because I saw a headline in Colorado politics. I just couldn't believe it. Handouts don't help. How a Colorado county reduced homelessness by 86% in 2 years.
Yeah.
And so I texted all the county commissioners, Laura Thomas, George Teal, and they all said it was Abe's idea. Get Abe on. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Jeff, it's real. And I'm honored to be here. You and Bill have been fantastic, and I really appreciate you reaching out to all of us. But the truth is, yes, we've been able to reduce homelessness in Douglas County by 86%.
Wow.
And that number really happened as a result of our HEART team, which is our Homeless Engagement Assistance Resource Team. It's law enforcement paired with a navigator that any taxpayer can call. It can go out to any intersection, anywhere an individual sees somebody that is unhoused or in crisis, and that team goes out and addresses that issue immediately.
And when you say address that issue, is it move on, or here's some resources to help, or what does that addressing the issue look like?
Yeah, 100% of individuals that are in need of services will receive those, but the reality that places like Portland, Seattle, San Francisco do not want to share with you is that only about 20 to 30% of those individuals are seeking services. The rest are saying no thanks. stay away. We don't need your help. And of that percentage, many of them have warrants out for their arrest.
Really?
And so, yes.
Wow.
And so the big secret solution is including law enforcement at the table. And several years ago, I was out with my son in my home city, Lone Tree, picking up trash with a cleanup crew. And we found an encampment with liquor bottles and drug paraphernalia. My son said, "What is this?" And I reached out to my city council. They said, "Hey, there's another encampment right down the street." This was at Lincoln and I-25, and that was the birth of the homeless initiative. And I said, really, hey, let's get a handle on this before it gets out of control. And thankfully, my board supported this concept of creating a Douglas County homeless initiative. We lead with the 4 C's, compassion first, but code enforcement, community services, and communications. So we recognize the dignity of a person's name and knowing who they are. But we are also reclaiming our public spaces. So we have a camping ban. We have a Handouts Don't Help campaign. If you've seen the 70 signs throughout our county, we're saying, hey, we're not saying don't give. We're saying redirect your generosity to our Douglas County Community Foundation, where 100% of your donations go right back out.
That's a really important thing to talk about, because Bob Cote, who started Step Denver, what is now Step Denver, used to hand out a free meal ticket to anybody he met on the homeless. Free meal. Come get a free meal. We will feed you.
Yeah.
And he handed out thousands of those. And I think he said out of 20 plus years of doing that, one guy showed up for a free meal.
Right.
Because what they're not starving. That's not what they necessarily need. You're dealing with drug addiction issues. You're dealing with mental health issues. And so if you just fuel that, right, and by handing them cash, you're not actually helping them.
Jeff, you're exactly right. And our citizens are great in Douglas County, but they often feel conflicted. They pull up to an intersection. They want to roll down that window if they see somebody saying, hey, I'm a veteran, or hey, bless you, God bless you, just need help for the day. We're saying do not roll down that window.
No, don't.
Because what happens is you're just incentivizing the problem at that intersection. Donate directly to the community foundation, so you're giving. But all those dollars are going right to the services that are actually providing resources.
That's an excellent point, Abe Layden. And what I want to point out there is the idea of fueling the begging, or the people that are there on the intersections. Correct. Because if you pay attention, and I was a downtown kid, there are certain intersections that are prime real estate, and you will see them show up earlier in the day. And if another homeless person realizes you can make money on this corner rather than that corner, there may be some conflict between the two of them because someone wants to take over that stop. And so when you're driving through Denver and you see a lot of people on intersections and you see them day after day, it's because other people are giving them money. If people weren't rolling down that window and handing them cash, they'd go somewhere else. So we are creating the problem that we are complaining about. Now, I want to know how the law enforcement component has been so important, because I see in other areas of Denver, sorry, I had something in my throat there. They don't necessarily involve the law enforcement aspect of it. Talk to us about how important law enforcement is in this homeless initiative.
Bill, you're exactly right, and I'll answer that directly. In Douglas County, we don't defund the police, we fund the police.
Good.
Our county funds law enforcement greater than any other county in the state. We have the highest number of school resource officers. And for us, we've elected a great sheriff, Darren Weekly, who is great. He is wonderful, and he is on our homeless initiative, has partnered with us. He believes in reclaiming our public spaces, being compassionate always, but first and foremost, honoring those taxpayers that are paying money to keep our streets safe.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Because the issue is, when you're out there on the streets for a variety of reasons, you're open for crime. You're also open to do crimes. Yep. You're dealing with things, and there also is an impact to the local community. So getting law enforcement involved is really important, because also it's carrot and stick. Law enforcement is there to be the stick as you're offering them the carrot. It's the idea that, listen, we are serious about this, because I've seen in the past where groups go around and they clean up, they move the homeless along. If the law enforcement aspect isn't there, the homeless just show up a couple of days later. And I've seen that downtown, where they'll move them off a certain area. They'll go 2 blocks away. You come back 2 weeks later, they're back where they were before. And it just starts the cycle again.
You're exactly right.
Talking with Abe Layden, Douglas County Commissioner, led the effort in Douglas County. Headline coming from Colorado Politics: Handouts Don't Help, how a Colorado county reduced homelessness by 86%.
86%.
2 years.
That is in 24 months.
But the critical thing is they got people help. This wasn't just like, move along, you vagrant.
And it wasn't throwing him in jail. It wasn't anything else. It was getting them the help they need. They keep talking about, how do we get the homeless off the street? How do we get them into the services? And how do we get them back into society being productive members? Abe Layden's got
Abe Layden, congratulations. Thanks for being on our program.
Man. It's an honor to serve. Thank you so much for having us. It's a community effort. We can get this done statewide and throughout the Denver metro area.
And how important is that?
Mayor Mike, pay attention.
Yeah, and it's a community effort. And the idea that he reached in and wanted the solution, it was about helping the people that were on the street, but it was also about taking care of the taxpayers. That's how you got to solve it.
That's right.
Yes. And oddly enough, in the entire discussion here with Abe Layden, he didn't mention asking for more tax money once.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's very strange. I wonder if Mike Johnson's playing. Yes, Mike Johnson's paid for it. Thanks, man.
County Commissioner.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming
appreciate
by.
the time.
We're doing
Thank
a
you.
live broadcast again down here at Doug's Diner off of Main Street in Parker. Come down and join us. Enjoy great food. Lots of fun. John Fabricatori is going to be up next. It's kind of like Cheers. All of our friends are coming in. Deb Flora was here. Mark Baisley was here. Alicia Frizzell was here. You're going to come down and enjoy us. We're still going to be here for over another hour. Come in and get a great breakfast. Look, I want to talk to you about another great guy, Dan Kaplis with Dan Kaplis Law. Dan suggests you should choose a lawyer who shares your values because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says a lot about you to everyone involved in the case. He's the son of a police officer, a former seminarian who makes a difference in this community. You're not just getting some ambulance chasing attorney with his face on a billboard. You're getting a guy who's made Colorado a better place. But he's also, more than that, he's a winner in the courtroom. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado history. Dan Kaplis is so trusted that Dan Kaplis Law is the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Give him a call if you need his help. 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dankaplisLaw.com. That's Dan, CAPLISlaw.com. We'll continue with a special live broadcast to the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. We are doing a live broadcast from Doug's Diner, and one of my absolutely favorite dudes just walked in. It's kind of like Cheers. We're having all the guys, and John Fab came in. John Fabricatore's running for Congress in Congressional District 6. I know he's heading down to the Rustlers
Dude,
later.
that shirt's next
he's
level.
He's gonna get a rabbit for about $10,000.
I'm hoping I don't spend that much.
Larry might as well get you going. Larry, it's a great group. They take a whole bunch of these great guys and community leaders, right, left. You have Polis, Fabricatori. They all go down to the Colorado State Fair and help support the kids in 4-H and stuff. It's a great organization. Fab, tell us how the race is going, man.
Yeah.
The race is going good. We got 70. We're 70 days out. I'm just trying to stay in the grind, trying to just be out there, getting my face out there. I was on Fox and Friends this morning. I did a little interview about the gang situation in Aurora. So for me, I mean,
it's happening, dude. I don't know what you're talking about.
We can put all the evidence out there. We're still going to get told we're not telling the truth. So, for me, it's just staying on the ground and, and keep doing the job.
That's great. He's running against Jason Crow. A lot of people don't know this about Crow, though. He's wildly progressive. I mean, not just kind of a little bit left-leaning Dem. No. He's more progressive than AOC on some of those lists.
Yes. If you look up his voting record, you can see that for yourself. The thing is, a lot of voters don't look that up. They just hear the MSNBC and CNN say the moderate Jason Crow whenever he shows up for an interview. And he's not. He's not a moderate. He constantly votes far left. And look, if you want change, we've got to get rid of him. And you need to vote for somebody like me to get into that seat. Jason's had his chance. He's done nothing since he's been in this seat. It's time for a change.
So, John, let's talk about your background real quick. We got about 30 seconds. Give us a sense of who you are and where you come from.
Yeah, so I'm a United States Air Force veteran. Grew up in New York, moved out here in 1998 as a young federal agent. I did 23 years with Immigration Customs Enforcement and retired as the director for all of ICE for Colorado and Wyoming.
So we have a chance to put a former ICE director, regional ICE director, into Congress.
Yeah. Okay.
Seriously, folks.
A person that understands immigration on the ground level. Is there a problem with immigration right now? Yes. Maybe this is a smart choice. Maybe it is.
John Fabricatori's website, johnfabricatoriforcongress.com. John Fabricatori for Congress. He'll get rid of Jason Crow. Secure that border. This is the type of guy we need to be
must go. Thank you very much.
John Fab.
Thank you so much, man.
We're going to continue a live broadcast from Doug's Diner. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS. But we're going to hit Blake first.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
we
watch
got
for
some
it.
time.
Take care, Joel. We'll see you. Hey, I see you.
Have you guys met in person?
No. Yeah, I think once. Yep.
That's right. Yeah. 9 a.m. in the Mile High City. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. Is Tuesday, August 27th, and we are doing a live broadcast down here at Doug's Diner. The place is filled up. People are having a great time eating food. I mean, this food is delicious.
It's fantastic. I was just hanging out with a couple of brothers that come and meet here once a month, and they got all sorts of places they could go, but they come and they hang out at Doug's. Why?
Love it.
Because of the menu, because it is locally sourced, because they say you don't get anything that tastes like this around here. That's how well Doug's does. So, yeah, this is absolutely fantastic. And John Fabricatori just hanging out with us, having coffee. Again, the black coffee here is fantastic.
Yeah, it
man.
is.
This is
and you and I get to sit down and really have a breakfast here in about 60 minutes.
Yes.
Once we're done and we can have some room. But doing a live broadcast, come on down. We're just off of Main Street, 18595 East Main Street, 18595 East Main Street
north side of the
Parker.
street. Yep, north side of the street between Parker Road and 20 Mile. It's very easy to find right near the Parker Hotel. Come on out and hang out with us. You still got about an hour to see our scary faces and see everybody else and have some absolutely amazing breakfast. We had Deb Flora here, and I can see here she's got her Eggs Benedict, just like she said she was going to. So.
Deb and Jonathan are eating over there. We've had a full house. Everyone from Abe Layton to Lisa
Look at that
Frizzell,
bacon she's
Anthony
got.
Hartzog.
Dude. Oh, that looks so good.
And coming up here in just a second, Ted Harvey is going to join us. I'm going to ask him who the current chairman of the GOP is. Well, nobody else seems to want to answer. I'm pretty sure Ted's got a clear answer on this one,
does.
which we appreciate. I mean, yesterday, Ted, phone lines jam-packed. I mean, this thing was on both sides. We had Barb Kirkmeyer. We had Hugo Chavez-Ray. We had Eli Bremer on. We had the whole crew. The debate, the great debate about the future of the Republican Party was taking place on this show. And when we told people that Ted Harvey was coming on tomorrow, they're going to be listening. So
they are.
We're looking forward to talking to Ted.
What does that say about your listeners?
They're ready for the discussion, which is what happens here on the Jeff and Bill Show. But first, let's check in on the news with Blake Olson.
Hey,
good morning, Blake.
Hey, good morning, Jeff and Billy and Ted. You know what? I just noticed this, Billy.
Yes.
We got to tell Deb there is actually a chaparral jersey.
Oh, yeah, she said that. She'd give a shout out. Yeah.
Wolverines.
Yes, the Wolverines are up there.
Yeah, so we just got to get
You got all these local high
up
school. You got Ponderosa over there.
Yep.
Lots of
got legend over there. Home of Chad Mumu, who plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars linebacker. Yes, I'm sorry. I had to shameless plug there.
Nice job.
67 in Denver, expecting highs in the mid-80s today. The 7-10 5-day forecast is coming up. Israel says its forces have rescued a hostage held by Hamas. It was described as a complex operation in southern Gaza. They believe that Hamas is still holding more than 100 hostages who were taken October 7th. The Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg told the House Judiciary Committee that the Biden administration pressured Facebook to censor Americans. He said the administration leaned on the social media company to censor COVID-19 content and acknowledged that it was wrong to block the coverage of Hunter Biden's infamous laptop. Jury selection has started for the trial of Ahmad Alissa, the accused Boulder King super shooter. 10 people were murdered in the store 3 years ago. Jurors
I was going to say, they're
picking
just
up
now getting to this?
just now. It
3
feels like
years?
10 years ago.
I know, it does.
Yeah. No, it was 3 years ago.
Holy cow.
So they've just begun picking up their questionnaires on Monday. 2 Denver parks have closed temporarily due to a rash of drug activity, violence, and vandalism. La Alma, Lincoln, and Sonny Lawson parks are closed for now. A plea deal has been reached in connection with a U.S. Army soldier who ran across the border into North Korea last year. Remember that? Private second class Travis King.
Look, I will tell you this, as somebody who spent 4 days with Palestinian protesters at the DNC.
Yes.
There's just crazy people in this world, man.
No doubt.
And that's like one of them.
There you go.
Like, I'm going to run across into North Korea.
Poster child.
Right, I know.
Yep. Crazy.
Jeez.
Loco. Golly. Pleading guilty to desertion and assault on a non-commissioned officer and disobeying orders. Lowe's is reportedly reviewing its diversity, equity, and inclusion policies in response to pressure from conservative podcaster Robbie Starbuck, another corporation rethinking wokeism.
Did your race really matter when you're trying to help somebody at Lowe's?
Right. Oh, goodness. No, I don't think so. I think blue and white is the only thing, and green.
Can you help me find the hammer?
Yeah,
that's all I care.
That's all. It goes back to Da Vinci. Do we really care? No.
Gender fluidity.
It's irrelevant.
Yep.
64 in Englewood, 65 in Parker, 67 in Denver. Rockies beat the Marlins 3-2. Jeff and Bill, they continue. Ted's coming up from Doug's Diner in Parker Tuesday morning. Blake Olson News Talk 710 KNUS.
Here's your 710 5-day forecast. Well, monsoonal moisture has gotten swept away, so the chances of thunderstorms are going to be much lower here in the coming days. Mostly sunny with mid-80s today, upper 50s tonight, warmer back up to near 90 Wednesday, cooling to the low to mid-80s Thursday, mid to upper 80s Friday, 80s to low 90s Saturday. Weather brought to you by branchplanning.com. Secure your future retirement with a reliable income stream. Annuities can provide guaranteed payments, giving you peace of mind. Get your complimentary review at branchplanning.com or call 303-219-0088. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show with a live broadcast at Doug's Diner in Parker. We're going to be here for about another hour until the top of the 10 o'clock hour. Come by, see us. The place is just packed. People having a ton of fun, getting good food, enjoying coffee and orange juice and getting their day started. So everybody's having a great time. Come on down, Doug's Diner. All right, joining us on the Jeff and Bill Show is Ted Harvey's the chairman of the Colorado Republican Party's Independent Expenditure Committee. I'm going to ask you the question I've asked a lot of other people. Who's the chairman of the Colorado Republican Party?
Williams. Last Friday.
Yeah, hold on. We got to get you plugged back in and something happened.
Not working. Here, try again, Ted.
Say it again, Ted.
Shoot. Okay. Tell you what. Oh, yeah. There we go.
We'll give him the headset. All right.
There we go.
Now we're really set the anticipation. Who's the chairman of the Colorado Republican Party?
Dave Williams, the chairman of the Republican Party that was elected by a majority of the Central Committee members, 16 months ago, and still is to this day.
Yeah. So what happened? Well, from your perspective, what happened over the weekend? What's going to happen this weekend? I mean, you sit and we hear this kind of back and forth. And I even asked Eli Bremer, I said, well, all right, you've claimed to have been elected the chairman of the Republican Party, but do you have the keys to the office? He said, no, we're basically in an eviction process, is what he said.
Well, good for him. We'll see what happens there. He had a pep rally on Saturday, and that was about the extent of it. Todd Watkins brought forward a list of names on an Excel spreadsheet and said, these are our 25% of the Central Committee to have a meeting. I said that you can't just bring an Excel spreadsheet without signatures, without email addresses, without a chain of title to those names. And the executive committee, not Dave Williams, the executive committee that's elected by their peers all across the state of Colorado, ruled that I was right. For the integrity of the Republican Party, you just can't have people coming forward with a list of 25% of the delegates or Central Committee members and say, we're going to have our own meeting. And the executive committee agreed with me, and they went ahead and had their meeting despite what the executive committee said. But at the same time he was saying he was going to have his meeting, he also appealed the ruling of the executive committee to say that the Central Committee on Saturday, the 31st, should vote to determine whether the executive committee's decision was appropriate or not. So at the same time he's having a pep rally on Saturday, he's also having an appeal to the State Central Committee on the 31st to say that the executive committee was wrong. So we will have an executive committee or a State Central Committee meeting on the 31st. And
that has not been canceled because Eli told us yesterday he's canceled that meeting.
Well, good for him. Santa Claus said that he's going to come over with Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer also. Just because you're think that you're Santa Claus doesn't mean you are. And he has no authority. He got less than 25% of the entire State Central Committee to
was
vote
it less
for
than 25%?
Yes.
Even but with the proxies.
Yes.
There's still less than 25% with all the
Yes.
proxies there? Because I thought it was like they had like 170. And aren't there 360?
There's 414.
Oh, 414.
State Central Committee members. Some people didn't vote on Saturday.
Yeah.
Britta Horn got 70 votes, and then the rest went to Eli. He got less than 25% of the entire State Central Committee to go to his pep rally and vote for him. We're going to have the meeting on Saturday, and I would almost guarantee you more than 50% of the State Central Committee will show up, and we will proceed with having a vote on whether his petitions were appropriate or not. And if they were, then they can have a vote and vote up or down on Dave Williams.
So they have a chance. And I asked Eli that, like, are you going to have to go back on Saturday and make your case again the following week? That's why he's canceled it. I mean,
well, it's not Eli's decision on Saturday. The discussion will be with Todd Watkins on whether his signatures were valid signatures. That's who appealed. That's who brought forward the signatures. That's who has made an appeal to the State Central Committee. The State Central Committee officially is meeting on Saturday. The chair and vice chair called that official meeting on Saturday, the 31st, and that's where that appeal will be made with Todd Watkins. Eli Bremer has nothing to do with it.
So the primary issue, it seems like to me, is whether or not it's a quorum or 2/3 of the people in a particular room or 2/3 of the entire Central Committee to get rid of the chairman of the Colorado Republican Party. The idea, and I'll be honest, the idea that it's 2/3 of people in a particular room doesn't seem legitimate to me. Because if you're dealing with the idea of removing the chairman of the Colorado Republican Party, something that big, the idea that you would just get enough people in a room to have a quorum and then say, no, it's 2/3 of those people versus 2/3 of the entire Central Committee, that's where I kind of struggle with the entire process.
Yeah, because you could get 2/3, you get 15 people in a room and then say, well, now 2/3 here or to say this is okay. It doesn't, if it's not based on total number of people from the Central Committee, you've got a math problem. Because that does allow a very small group to come together and say, now we have a quorum and we're going to move this forward.
The guy out.
Yeah. So that's the question. And also, Ted Harvey, with the meeting on Saturday, what happens if you guys don't have 2/3 of the leadership committee there? Does it also mean
then
you guys
can't remove Dave Williams?
Yeah. So
that's
you can't do anything. Sorry, that's a morning. Yeah, I'm wondering about that idea.
We can do
2/3.
everything if we have a quorum, except for remove the chair.
Okay, good.
We can have a vote on determining whether the executive committee was correct in saying that Todd Watkins' signatures were accurate or not, and we can have that vote because that's the vote. It's not whether the pep rally they had on Saturday was a legitimate pep rally or not, or their vote was 2/3 or not. The vote is, was that meeting appropriate? And well, it wasn't. But if they have if the 50% of the Central Committee plus one votes that Todd Watkins' signatures were correct, then they can go forward and have their vote on Dave Williams on Saturday. But if they don't,
there could be a vote on Dave Williams.
But if they don't, then everything is a moot point.
Right.
That the state executive committee is the one that made the first ruling, and now it's been appealed to the entire state central committee. And if this entire state central committee votes with me, then it's done. It's over with.
Yeah.
Which I would assume that, I can't predict. I can't speak for the state central committee, but then you go, if they go with Todd Watkins and says he gets a vote, then they take a vote on Saturday. And if they get 2/3 of the entire state central committee, then they can remove Dave. But we've got a lot of steps to go before we get there.
We got Ted Harvey live with us at Doug's Diner. He's the chairman of the Colorado Republican Party's Independent Expenditure Committee. I want to ask you some things that were raised by Eli Bremer yesterday on our show. It seemed a little troubling to me. One, the idea that the state party hasn't talked to Gabe Evans since he won. And is coordinating with him to make sure we get him across the finish line, or Jeff Hurd or Paul Lundeen in the state Senate. Has the state party been working with our candidates to get them across the finish line, get them a win?
I have no idea. I'm not the state party.
Yeah, but
So
have you heard from Dave Williams? Does that raise concerns for you at all?
Yeah, if that's true, I'm friends with Gabe Evans. He was my intern when he was 17 years old in the legislature. And I disagree with the way that the state central committee and the vote at the state convention, whatever you want to call it, state assembly, ruled to tell the state party to move forward and endorse in races where they had two candidates that went through the assembly. I don't agree with that, but that's what the state central committee voted. I do believe you should not be endorsing candidates that didn't go through the assembly process, because I believe passionately that the Republican Party has caucuses in assembly, and we should encourage that. Otherwise, why have a Republican Party or a Democrat Party for that matter? And we should endorse in those situations. But if both candidates went through the assembly the way that happened in Gabe Evans' race with Janet Josie, state party should stay out of that and not get in the middle of it. But the state central committee overruled Ted Harvey and went forward with it. And I think that the state party should, now that the primary is over with, be doing everything they can to get everybody elected. And I hope that that's what they're doing.
Yeah. So we've always, in our discussion of the Colorado Republican Party and where we are, have put it in sports terms. And in many ways, it feels like, all right, we're into almost like round 2 or 3 of the playoffs, and we need to switch head coaches. Now, Eli Bremer, Barb Kirkmeyer, those that were on our show yesterday, were making the argument that it is that bad. We've got a head coach of the Republican Party that's not delivering on voter registration, on fundraising.
Well, let's see what 50% of the state central committee says.
And then others saying, well, we switch at this point. We're not, have you ever seen a sports team do well 2 or 3 weeks into a playoffs and then switch the head coach? So we're actually going to solve those problems. So you're saying wait till Saturday. Let's see what happens Saturday with the vote there. Do you think the Republican Party can do well this year with Dave Williams?
Well, certainly the Republican Party can do well. They can do, they can certainly do better than what we've had in the last 6 election cycles, where we've lost seats in the House and the Senate. And when I was in the legislature, when I came in 2002, we had the governor's office, we had the Secretary of State, we had the treasurer, we had all of the constitutional offices, we had the House, we had the Senate, we had most of the congressional offices, and we had a United States Senate senator. Dave Williams wasn't the chair during those times. I can rattle off all of the chairs.
I think
that
2014 was the last good year Republicans had in this state, right? Cory Gardner won. And didn't we do pretty well in the House and Senate too? 14.
Yes. And what happened at that point? We had the 108 that went through that opened up our primaries.
Yeah.
And we have lost 2 or 3 seats in the legislature every cycle since that time. And I would argue that is what this is all about, is that Dave Williams is fighting to try to shut down the open primaries. And Eli Bremer, who campaigned around the state for 108, and his whole side of the party wants to have open primaries. And I honestly believe that's what this fight is all about. It has nothing to do with Dave Williams sending out an email that offended people. It has to do with a fight within the party of, should we allow Democrats, essentially unaffiliated, to vote in our primaries, or should we have a private organization choosing who their leadership will be and their nominees will be?
Wow. Dave Williams, Ted Harvey, chairman of the Colorado Republican Party's Independent Expenditure Committee. Let's pivot now to talk about that. What is an Independent Expenditure Committee?
Before we do the independent, I want to ask you a question just about the assembly process and the leadership council. So I understand what you're saying, that the endorsements were given based on candidates that went through the assembly process rather than getting on the ballot. And what I'm curious about is then we saw in the primary, we saw voters in certain areas reject those candidates that went through the assembly process. Does it mean that the executive committee is not in touch with their voters and their constituents if they said, well, these are the best people that we should endorse, and then when people actually fill out the ballots, they choose someone different? I'm wondering if that is a mistake. Again, my words, not yours. I don't want to put words in your mouth. Did they make a mistake?
Well, I think that you had it to pick your race, right?
Yeah.
It's different by race. I think that in some situations you had a ton of money being spent in some of those elections by outside groups that wanted to make sure that certain candidates didn't win, and in other races that where we had candidates that didn't go through the assembly and candidates that went through the assembly. Some of those candidates were terrible candidates.
Yeah, I would agree.
And if there's only one candidate going through the assembly, that candidate is a terrible candidate.
That's fair.
So
that's fair. Thank you.
It's on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
So what's an Independent Expenditure Committee? Expenditure sounds like lots of money. Spending money.
And how do you give us more money?
Campaigns cost money, right?
Yeah.
Less money and people. That's what makes politics go around. And you all may not remember this, but I'm old, and I remember this when Jared Polis pushed through campaign finance reform in Colorado and pretty much cut the legs out from underneath the parties, Democrat Party, Republican Party, and everybody, and put limits on how much money the parties could raise. And when they did that, the big money folks were able to dictate elections. To your point, in the primaries, they were able to dictate who wins and who loses. And so now the parties are pretty much impotent in raising money. And so I don't remember, it was probably Dick Wadhams, I believe, who was the first to set up an outside independent expenditure committee. That's probably 10, 15 years ago. To raise money, unlimited amount of money outside of the party, but with the blessing of the party, to raise money, unlimited money to spend in campaigns. And so every county, every state chair has had a blessed organization outside of the party that is an independent expenditure committee trying to raise money to help Republican candidates. And so I ran for Congress this year and got rolled over by Lauren Boebert, as
so many
Deb Flora did, who was on here earlier in your show. And when I got done, Dave asked if I would be interested in doing that. So I set up all of the paperwork to get that done. I don't know, May or June, something like that. And so it's been in place for a long time. But right when that happened is when this whole coup started. And I just didn't feel it was going to be very productive to go to try to raise money from big donors.
Go ask them and say, we're having this problem internally. Talk to me about the conversations that you had early on, and even not right now as far as donors. What are you hearing from the people that cut the checks? What are they concerned about here in Colorado? The issues that they want to make sure the Republican Party is backing, and the things that are scaring them about how the Democrats are taking control. Because I know that, Ted, you and I don't agree on some things in politics, but we can agree some of the Democrat ideas are absolutely frightening as far as what they want to do. They're scary as hell. Well, so how do we fight back?
I think you're seeing that fight going on right now in the special session. I think that both sides realize what's going on in our state because of the failed leadership of Jared Polis and the Democrats, who literally pushed through some horrific taxing bills, property tax bills, and said, trust us, we're going to fix this. And then they never did fix it. And you're seeing people's property taxes going up 50%. And now every property owner in the state, residential, commercial, everybody is freaking out. And so Jared Polis is desperately trying to solve a problem that he created and knew he was going to create it. That is what the big donors are talking about. That's what every mom and pop on the street in this diner is talking about, is the way that Jared Polis and the Democrats screwed every property owner over, and they desperately want to have a fix. I don't believe the fix that Jared Polis is bringing forward in this special session is that fix when they're taking away the ability for voters to decide their financial future.
Thank you, Ted. That is exactly it, because we had Lisa Frizzell and Anthony Hartsook on earlier, and they were talking about one of the things that Democrats started in the special session. The special session, we're supposed to fix the property tax issue, and in the special session, they're going to take away the ability for voters to pass an initiative.
It's not just the Democrats. There's plenty of Republicans. Barb Kirkmeyer is the one leading the fight on this bill. And I find it ironic that at the same time she's trying to destroy the Republican Party, she's trying to destroy the taxpayers at the same time. She is the one that's leading the fight with Jared Polis to push this bill through. And I would say Lisa Frizzell is holding her hands in the process.
So did you notice at the DNC that the National Democrat Party was like, hello, Joe Neguse, hello, Jason Crow, and then they kind of put Jared Polis in a consolation 3-minute speech.
3 minutes on the bad night.
Did you know?
He got the third night, so he got the lowest rated night.
To care about Jared
and it was a 3-minute stand-up bit that they wrote for him and then handed him a prop. I
think that's Kamala Harris that pushed him aside, because I think he was probably her number one competitor to be the nominee had they actually had an election.
And you think so?
Without
over
a doubt.
Pete Buttigieg, they gave Pete, they gave Shapiro all this time.
Buttigieg, that reason why is because Kamala Harris didn't want to promote him. Pete Buttigieg is a failed mayor of a city the size of Highlands Ranch, a homeowners association. So we're saying that the director of the Highlands Ranch Community Association should be president of the United States? I don't think so.
Ted Harvey, he's the newly appointed, I guess, chairman of the Colorado Republican Party's Independent Expenditure Committee. I guess this happened in May, but at least the email went out yesterday. But chairman of the Colorado Republican Party's Independent Expenditure Committee, giving us an update from his perspective on the Civil War raging within the Republican Party. Ted, thanks so much for being here.
There's not a Civil War. It's a blip on the radar screen.
Blip on the radar screen.
You're the best. I so appreciate you, Ted. I love you more than you know, man. Thank you so much for spending time with us today. Thank you.
Ted, thank you. Look, pain from arthritis is just awful. Bone on bone, constant pain. It robs you of so much of the stuff you love to do, but there are effective ways to deal with that pain. And guys, I'm not talking about drugs or surgery. Listen, there are exciting new cellular therapies that can get you lasting relief. And the place to go? QC Kinetics. QC Kinetics uses cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move again. If you're living with chronic pain from arthritis or injury, you need to know that steroids and surgery and pain pills are no longer your only option. Learn how QC Kinetics can use advanced regenerative medicine to treat your pain, enhance your joints, and restore your mobility, giving you long-term relief with no downtime. The local medical professionals at QC Kinetics are ready to help you get your life back with regenerative, restorative cellular treatments for your achy joints. This is the future of medicine. Call for a free consultation now, 303-900-8986. That's 303-900-8986, with locations in Aurora, Superior, Colorado Springs, and Highlands Ranch. We'll continue with a special broadcast of the Jeff and Bill Show, live from Doug's Diner in Parker.
News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show with a live broadcast down at Doug's Diner. We're going to be here for about 25, 30 more minutes. Come join us, 18595 East Main Street, 18595 East Main Street. Once we get off air, that's when Billy and I get to really enjoy the food.
I'm throwing down that black bag. I'm going after that thing.
Good. All right, joining us here is Rob Mullins. He's got an album, The Best of the Trio. He's a jazz artist coming by to hang out with us.
Yeah, and a regular Doug. How are you, Rob?
It's 710K NUS News coming at you from Doug's Day Diner. It's the morning drive show with. Now, there was a Bill and.
Yeah.
This is Bill.
No, I'm not Bill. No, that's a rumor.
Jeff.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, but I heard there was a Ted when I was driving over.
Yeah.
Ted Harvey was the guy that was right before.
So
Andy, Blake. Now, what does this guy do?
Yep.
What's your deal?
Well, I don't.
Yeah.
So
We've asked that for 2 months now. Yeah. I've been asking him that.
I don't.
Like, what the heck is this guy doing here?
Right,
He looks a little creepy.
I got to tell you, all the Democrats who text us would like, what is Blake doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Blake's our news broadcaster, and we use news in air quotes because here's the reason. A little secret here. Everybody else in town does straight news. We're not like everybody else in town. I know, but we're not like anybody else in town. So we want Blake to throw his opinion into the newscast. It is the Blake Olson News because you get not only the news that's going to get your day started, but you're also going to get the commentary and the insight that you need from him.
All right. So, Rob, we've only
Blake
got
Olson.
a few minutes. You got to tell us about your music.
Yeah, I'll tell you my story. My story is that I went to Lincoln High School. I had a great band director. I went to college in Greeley. I hated it, so I got a National Endowment grant.
Nice.
Not just for the smell. I could do 4 hours on Greeley. But I moved to New York, and I studied with Miles Davis and John Coltrane's teacher.
Wow.
Told me, don't do college, make albums. I came back. Man, my 5th album got a Grammy nomination through promotion.
Uh-oh. Now your mic's cutting out. Hang on. Oh, grab the headphones there for Blake.
Oh,
your mic's
now I finally
yeah.
Hold on, people.
Oh, yeah, hang on.
Just talking to it. You don't have to put it on your head. Okay.
Yep, there we go. There we are.
Oh, it feels so much more podcasty.
It's so podcasty.
Yeah, but anyway, I got a Grammy nomination for my Soulscape album and moved out to Hollywood. I survived Hollywood. I've been the touring keyboard player for Hubert Laws, world's greatest flute player. And what you have in your hands is my 43rd album.
No way.
43rd?
43rd. Yep. I'm just that sober. Because a lot of my early buddies, most of my early band members are all dead and God rest their soul. But I will be with a new band September 21st at Dazzle Jazz.
And where's Dazzle Jazz?
It's at 1410 14th Street.
So downtown.
Yeah, it's right by DCPA complex. Right.
So if you want to follow Rob Mullins, he's on Facebook at Rob Mullins Music or Instagram Rob Mullins LA.
Yeah.
There you can follow and get all the details. We're just up against a break here, but Rob, thanks so much for joining us, being on the program.
Absolutely, man.
Learn more, man. Some good jazz. Check out Rob Mullins.
Yeah,
Look,
check him out.
Summertime is a time to feel and look your best, but I'm not talking about your abs or tan. Guys, I'm talking about your hair. Restore that bald spot, reverse your receding hairline, and add volume to thinning during Advanced Hair's once yearly summer savings event. Advanced Hair's simple one-day treatment begins to regrow your own natural hair the very next day, and they guarantee your new hair will grow. There's absolutely no one I trust more than Dr. Tanya Pauls and her team at Advanced Hair. Take advantage of your flexible summer calendar and get the most for your dollar. Advanced Hair Summer Sales Event is on for a limited time, so get the details and schedule your free consultation today. 720-459-HAIR. One-day treatment, life-changing results. With Advanced Hair, your new hair is guaranteed to grow. Check out the incredible before and afters and take advantage of their best offer ever. That's 720-459-HAIR or advancedhair.com. advancedhair.com. We'll continue with a special live broadcast of the Jeff and Bill Show at Doug's Diner.
News Talk 710 KNUS. Okay.
9:44 on this Tuesday, August 27th. We are wrapping up our live broadcast down here at Doug's Diner. It has been an absolute stream all morning. All of our friends coming in. Lisa Frizzell, Anthony Hartsock, Abe Layden, Deborah Flora, Ted Harvey, Mark Baisley, John Fabricatori. Man,
like who's who?
It is the crew that came by. That was a lot of fun.
Yes. And again, just met local artists. And now we are going to bring in the heavy hitter right here at the end of the show.
To finish us off.
Yes, to finish us off strong. We are talking with Lindsay, owner of this location, Doug's Diner here in Parker. Coming out and visit. This really is like a wonderful neighborhood cafe.
Yes, 100%.
I don't know how you have built a staff that works together this well as a team and are this friendly. I've done lots and lots of food service, Lindsay, and I've seen how teams work together, and I've seen how they do very, very poorly. You've got a team that watches each other's back here. Nicely done.
It's been over here over 4 years, just talking about how great the staff teamwork is.
And that is a lot to do with the ownership and the management. Because, people that are serving tables and stuff, there are a lot of other options. You can take that skill and go somewhere else. But when you find some place that does it right, that takes care of you as a person, you stick with them. And that's what your staff is doing here. I appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for your guys' support. We do have a great staff. As you met Megan, she's our manager over at Centennial. She helps us out on Mondays and Tuesday mornings opening. So that's the nice thing about any really Doug's locations you're going to have. You're going to usually have that same camaraderie. We're all there for each other. We go to different locations to help each other out. And it's really just important to have somebody that wants to be here, enjoys their time here, and let's just build a community together.
Yeah, and how much better does that make the food? Because you've got someone that has enjoyed serving you and enjoys dealing with you, too. So that's going to make it so much better. And Megan hooked us up with the Big Pig this morning. That was fantastic, and she Christmased it up. So we did that green and the red chili, and that was wonderful. Your green chili is next level.
Crepes as soon as we're done here.
Really? The thing for me is
I'm a huge crepes friend.
I am, too. Yeah. The thing for me, it's either the Black Betty or that spicy Reuben.
I'm going to try. Can I have a bite of yours?
Absolutely.
Are we at that point in our relationship?
Oh,
I
heck
can
yeah.
eat food off of your
gosh,
plate?
yes. Absolutely, my friend. You can have as many fries, eat the food off my plate all you want.
All right, so give us the history, because this is relatively new chapter in y'all's lives, right? Buying the Dougs?
Correct, yeah. So the original owner, Doug, he came from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and he opened up the location we have in Centennial off of Parker and Orchard, and he had Fort Collins. And that was in 2010. In 2014, my father, Rick, and his business partner, Linda, purchased those two locations. And since 2014, we are now 9 diners strong, including Meade, Colorado. That is in the old Red Rooster restaurant in Meade, Colorado.
Nice.
They opened today.
Wow, so
really, today's their grand opening in Meade.
In Meade, and we were talking about that earlier when we had guests on the show, how difficult it is to start businesses downtown. And the interesting thing is, you guys, over the course of 10 years, have gone from 2 to 9 locations, now expanding into Meade. Not downtown Denver. That's weird. That's weird. Where all the regulations are, where it's hard, where we got the construction, where it's hard to actually make a living, and not there. You guys are going out into the other communities. If you would have told someone, hey, the best place to open the restaurant right now is Meade, Colorado, rather than downtown Denver, most people look at you as if you have 2 heads. But that's literally the best thing right now, is those smaller communities, because that's where you can be a part of the community, and that's where you can make a difference, and you don't have to deal with some of the regulations you have downtown. You don't have to deal with the silliness and the craziness. So there are some neat things, Lindsay, that Doug's Diner does in separate locations. They lean into the local community. That's where I'm going with this. Talk to me about some of the things you guys are doing in Loveland and some of the other locations to really give back.
So for our Centennial location, that's based around, Buckley Air Force Base is going to be your closest base. If you actually go in there, we kind of call that our military store. You're going to see a wall of photos from my grandfather, who retired from Buckley Air Force Base in the early 90s. So he has Nebraska Air National Guard photos on there. He has pictures from Buckley from the 70s, 80s. So it's just kind of honoring his memory and our military service men and women over there. And we have a lot of people that come from Buckley in the morning to eat there too. So love having that community and seeing those faces over there. And thank you for your service, of course.
Yeah.
And then in regards to Loveland, that's one of our newer locations that opened up earlier this year with the fires over there. My father, Rick, and his staff and Linda, they actually offered all free meals to all first responders, as well as taking meals up to the front lines for them too, just making sure they stayed hydrated, stayed fed, and making sure they knew that we were there for them if they needed any help or support.
Okay, so for first responders during the fires, you fed them for free and brought the food and hydration up to them. That's something.
They're not picking at salads either.
No, you're gonna have hearty biscuits and jam, and let us know what you need. We are there for you as a community.
Oh, that's fantastic. You know, there were a couple of brothers that are having breakfast over there, and they were talking about how good the biscuits and gravy are. And there were some newcomers over in the corner I talked to. It was because of a coworker's recommendation. They said, you got to check out Doug's, check out Doug's. And they were here having breakfast for the very first time in the morning with us when they heard about it and came on over. And I like the fact that this does feel like that neighborhood cafe. That's right. And we talk about the fact that in our communities we're becoming more and more separated, but you're creating something special where everybody comes together. You've got regulars that show up here. One super famous musician that comes in here and hangs out at the bar, and you can see the wait staff knows Rob and likes Rob, and that's something incredibly special. So also talk to us about how you locally source a lot of the ingredients that go in, so that when someone comes into a Doug's Diner and they pay that check at the end of the meal, the money is going back into the farmers and ranchers right here in Colorado. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so our bison burger, for example, comes from a gentleman who lives in Byers, Colorado. I'm about to go to Grand Junction. We get our Palisade peaches from a family or source, if you will, on Grand Junction every year, and we just come back with full of peaches, just so we make sure we have enough jam, because all our jam is all homemade. We go to the farmers markets. You know, I live out in Elizabeth, so we'll be at the farmers markets in Southlands, Castle Rock, Elizabeth, purchasing fruits and items from them too to help make our jams, and just really you know, our espresso beans and our horse tooth sauce, things like that are in Boulder, out of Boulder. So just keeping everything local and knowing where your product comes from is very important too.
Oh, that is so important, to know where the product comes from, to make sure that you're getting something you can trust, something that is quality, but also you're spending money right here in Colorado. So it's an economic multiplier that does things beyond what you would see by just hanging out here and having the big pig omelet in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, right after this, I'm going to get some food.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to.
So imagine the torture I've been going through watching meal after. This gentleman right here is enjoying his
My friend
breakfast.
the Cure fan, yes.
I've had to work for the last 4 hours. I'm going to sit down and partake.
Oh, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. So, Lindsay, I know that you have a little one at home, and you do have a stepson as well. What do they like when they come into Doug's Diner? What is the things that feed the kids? And because you've got one that's a teenager, and you got one that's a little knee biter. So what's the difference in the two, and what do they like to eat?
Well, my bonus son, I know he always loved getting the cinnamon roll. We have a huge cinnamon roll. He also loved the pancakes when he was here. In regards to the 2-year-old, he's the same. Give him a waffle and pancakes, and he will he thinks he can eat it all, but it's bigger than his face. So.
Oh, I love that. That's fantastic. Now, what about as far as you and building the community? What has been the number one thing that's made the difference for you, taking over this location, being the owner? Talk to me about the change it's made in your life, because we talk about small business owners are struggling right now.
Right.
Yeah. What's it meant in your life to have this opportunity?
It's great keeping this as a family business, but also community. I moved to Parker in 97, and I'm also a Colorado native, so I grew up in Aurora and Lakewood. But moving here in Parker in 97 and seeing how it's grown and being able to be back in part of the community in a big way like that, it's not just, I'm this class of 04 from Chaparral. You know, you have a different link of, hey, I'm back here. Seeing all of the people I went to school with and seeing that they're still here with their families. It's just been great to see the whole cycle of, we're not just in high school anymore, and we're just not this little thing on the map where Parker's expanding and getting big, and it's great to see that, and it's great to see similar faces and new faces and see what it's become.
That community improvement is coming from a restaurant like Doug's Diner that is providing all of that revenue to those local farmers, all that stuff. It's been an absolutely
so much fun.
Wonderful show today. Lindsay, thanks for hosting us.
You're the best.
We had a great time. We had lots of friends stop by. State Representatives Lisa Frizzell, Anthony Hartsook, Deborah Flora, County Commissioner Abe Layden, Ted Harvey, State Senator Mark Baisley, Congressional Candidate John Fabricatore. If you missed the show, check out the podcast. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
News Talk 710 KNUS. Right now.